in the hope that they don't need necessarily to watch too long. That said, my stream has yet to come up, so I must hopefully it'll be with us shortly. I'll try refreshing, see if we get anywhere.
What we're going to open with,
yeah, we are.
Alex Thompson. Oh, there's you.
Well, some things are working anyway. The stream's up and the commentary's on the stream. Hopefully it's on the BBC website, but BBC Radio Leicester were having one or two issues when last I called. I've left them to it. There is no more I can do. No more I can do. Alex Thompson, 3 for 36 from his 21 overs yesterday.
Look at the time.
And it's 11 o'clock, so Fletch's appearance was a brief one. He's going to have to pop next door to tell BBC Radio Derby that we are underway. Thompson is in from the Bennett end, and Kimber is forward. Not a big stride from the young Lincolnshire-born Louis Kimber, brother of Nick, who plays for Surrey, who's at Surrey. And he waits as Thompson goes in. Should be possible. No, he said. I thought there was going to be a run there. Just pushed it out towards point. There isn't a point. And Wayne Madsen at slip. Nick Potts from extra cover. Both ran quickly towards the ball. If they'd both gone, if it had been early, I think, if they'd been a little bit more established, I think there might have been a run there. Thompson is in, Kimber is forward, pushing to mid-wicket this time, shortish mid-wicket where Anush Dal picks up. This just Louis Kimber's 8th first-class game on 12th first-class innings. He's already got 350s, which is pretty decent. Bounces up into the air, off the pad though from me, but it bounced and turned. It was taken at backward, well on the 45, running in from sort of leg gully by the fielder, running in there, but it's Matty McKiernan who got his hands underneath it, but the appeal was always somewhat half-hearted, but bounce and turn for Thompson, who is in, and that will be a run this time, pushed again 2 point, but Barnes and Kimber now aware that there's a run to be taken, and they do, so Louis Kimber is up and running. Eddie Barnes did acquit himself admirably in the first innings with the bat. 32 or 34 not out? 34 not out of 72 balls in the first innings, and also a maiden first class 5 for yesterday, all taken in one quick spell before lunch, but a very different task awaiting him as Thompson goes in. Barnes plunges forward, pushes it out into the covers, and that is the end of the first over of the day. Just another 95 for Leicestershire to survive. A few less than that if they can overhaul that 171 run target in terms of making Derbyshire bat again. But that is all a very long way in the future. That camera, just looking on the stream, which is facing us, seems to be sort of now looking a little bit upwards. The room was splendidly cleaned today, the commentary box, but I don't know whether that might just have been adjusted. I'll see if I can make it a fraction lower. Sun goes briefly behind cloud. Suranga Lakmal is going to open the bowling for the visitors from the pavilion end. Yet to pick up a wicket in the innings, 12 overs, 7 maidens, none for 14, but he as parsimonious even in terms of conceding runs as the rest of the Derbyshire attack. Lakmal is in, Kimber is punching away through the leg side. There is cover on the square leg boundary. Sean Masood is out there. So a comfortable single for Louis Kimber. He takes it, first ball of the over. He has to at this stage, of course, not protect Barnes. Barnes is competent batsman. So Kimber on to 35, 148 for 6, and Fletcher's back alongside.
I'm very pleased I managed to get a laugh in the news.
Did you?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
No.
Passed across to me and
Usually
said,
very serious,
I
yeah.
hope not to be here for too long. Suranga Lackmal from the pavilion end, bowling to Ed Barnes, who pushes this one up to mid-on when it's fielded by Nick Potts.
Easily amused then, the newsreader.
Yes, yeah, and the presenter as well. Then they started talking about me at the end of the news.
I thought you'd cracked a funny or something.
No.
Just
He likes an early dart, does Dave Fletcher?
Fair enough.
We seldom get them at Derbyshire for some reason. We haven't in the first 2 matches. Been post 5 o'clock on Sunday. There is Lackmal, and 2 slips in place. He's in and bowls to Barnes, who's very solidly behind that one and pushing it back towards the Sri Lankan.
When Leicestershire saved the match against Worcestershire, with the last wicket stand, I did start to tick off the overs quite literally in my book, but I started at 26.5. I'm not inclined to start at 94.5. It'd take up several pages.
When we get to 26,
then I'll start.
You'll start.
Then
yeah.
I'll start.
Okay. You went to balls after that as well, didn't you? Counting down. Lackmal balls. This one's pushed out into the offside by Barnes, fielded by Connors.
Started with little 2 over blocks and then 1 over blocks, and then, as you say, the last 60 deliveries.
60 deliveries you went?
Yeah, last 10 overs.
Wow.
Because having got past the sort of halfway point, it seemed worth doing. But it was quite amusing, as I say, with poor Bradders having to commentate on each and every ball.
You needed
Gave
something to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Lackmal again. Pavilion end, and that's left alone by Barnes outside the house stump to go through to Brooke Guest, who I was chatting to earlier about his half catch.
Yeah, did he get anything on that?
He said he'd take it if he was given half a catch. He seemed to suggest that he did. David Griffin was slightly perturbed by the fact that 2 people could be given the same catch, but the ACS say that they've been told to record assists, but the person in whose hands the ball finally ends up is the man who takes the catch, or woman. This one's turned into the leg side by Ed Barnes. He's off the mark with a single out towards Shan Masood. And I'm led to believe that the scorers have enough space to put 5 names in, because again, talking to Lewis Rees, just having a bit of a laugh with him and asking if he'd seen the half catch, he was suggesting to pass it, we were suggesting to pass it down the line and do a bit of the keepy uppy that the cricketers like to do, one off the thigh and then a little back heel to somebody else.
If you get a little bit of credit for it, get involved.
Something to do with analysts, apparently.
But I'm more interested in the fact that, Guest actually did confirm it. He
apparently touched Guest's hand. Yeah.
Goodness, I don't know.
No idea how. No idea how.
Popped up.
I still don't think he did, looking at it.
No, it's really hard to see.
I also apologise to Alex Thompson as well this morning when he walked out. My commentary was on the catch that he took.
It was good commentary.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. As the first ball, which is due, isn't it? Sorry, the first ball of an Alex Thompson was played back to him. I might not get a chance to do it in this, but the ball was played back to him and he went down, caught it brilliantly with his left hand, and I immediately said, after his brilliant catch with his left hand, diving away to his right.
Oh. That's a bit. In goes Thompson and bowls. Barnes is forward, pushing out into the covers, and there's no run. I played it back this morning, watching the catch, and it was, as you correctly described it, a brilliant grab. But I didn't register the fact that you'd said to his right.
Somebody spotted
Sounds
it and mentioned
better
it on Twitter last night, of course.
Thompson is in, driving again. Barnes gets it past cover. Mid-off has to run around to his left. Godleman, so the single is comfortably taken. 150 up. Hurrah for Leicestershire. 150 for 6. Barnes has a couple. Kimber 35.
I think we've been talking for around about 6 hours by the time that catch had been taken. So we did well to actually sound like human beings.
Thompson is in. Kimber just leans forward and pushes it out towards mid-wicket where Dahl picks up. Yes, indeed. We can only apologise if we make the odd slip after 6, 7, 8 hours a day, whatever it is. Thompson is in. Kimber is clipping neatly, but again, Dahl is quick to move to his right, get his right hand down. Definitely is to his right. And make the stop.
Yeah. I may never live it down.
Thompson is in. Kimber's forward, thick inside part of the back, pushes it past. Deploy at short leg down towards McKiernan. That sort of backward square on the 45 position. Cameraman has emerged with just a training top. He's anticipating warmth out there.
Tiptoeing behind us.
He's got no light on his toes, has he? On his feet.
I don't think it was the clothes that made him heavy. No. He's just clomping about out there. Marvellous. It is quite a noisy surface, isn't it, though?
It is, yes.
Very
the ground looks pretty this morning, doesn't it, in the bright spring sunshine?
Beautiful.
The blossoms
I've always enjoyed coming here. So we're going to Lackmell. Continue from the pavilion and bowling to Ed Barnes, who cuts this one but straight to the ground, and it's one bounce into the hands of Anuj Dal, fielding a backward point.
But now the windows have been cleaned at your behest.
Well,
I'm going to have to clean all the railings down of the sort of slight green.
I'm not too worried about that.
Mold,
I can actually
just to make the picture.
There are no smudges at all. Oh dear. We can hear ourselves about half a second after we talk, which is quite awkward. Here is Lackmell on his way in and bowls now, and that one is pushed up to mid-off by Ed Barnes. It's fielded by Billy Godman. I assume that's something to do with them getting us on the stream. They just pressed a button. It'll all be remedied once Richard's made his 13th call to the studio. Fielded two slips, a point, backward point really. Cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. There's a man out on the mid-wicket boundary as well, and a man down at long leg. As in comes Lackmell and bowls, and that one's pushed back down the track by Barnes. He's got two. Kimber has 35, 150 for 6. Leicestershire trailing by 168. No, it's still there. A bit of on-air production, always good. Lackmell finally gets the ball back in his hands here at the pavilion end. He's on the advertising mat, big red thing, and runs away from us now. Bowls to Barnes, who almost falls into the offside as he plays that one back. Very close to the stumps at the non-striker's end as well, picked up at mid-on, or by the mid-on, but it went to the offside of the stumps. Nick Potts does the fielding. Already had a couple, or three in fact, innings defeats or victories in the second division of the county championship in this round of matches.
Yes, we are still getting feed.
In comes Lackmell again, a short delivery, and it's chopped away by Ed Barnes. That's a really nice shot by Barnes, who got his maiden 5 foot yesterday, and he's just hit a very nice boundary indeed from a short delivery from Lackmell out towards the backward point boundary. He moves on to 6, and it's 154 for 6. I don't think the breeze is quite as strong today as it has been the last couple of days. It's been really quite nasty. It looks warmer out there. Alex Thompson did suggest that it was a warmer day, but that was before he'd been out in the middle. He's bowled a couple of overs already today, 2 overs for 2 runs. That was the first boundary of the morning, scored by Ed Barnes, who's waiting now. Lackmell's past the umpire, and Barnes pushes the ball up to mid-on when it's fielded by Nick Potts again. It's the end of the Lackmell over. 70 overs old this ball, so 10 overs, and Derbyshire will get a second new ball, which could be important. Barnes has 6, Kimber has 35, and it's 154 for 6. Leicestershire still trailing by 164 runs, and Alex Thompson's brief spell at the start of day 4 has come to an end, because we're going to see Matty McKiernan come in. Come in. There you go. That's funny, that, isn't it, when you do that? It's going to come in from the Bennett end. It's not funny at all, but it's made me chuckle.
They are apparently doing their best in the studio to sort it out. And have to put up with listening to ourselves. After all, the listeners have to do it for hours a day.
I don't get paid enough to listen to myself.
So, 4 overs in. Fox is still intact. 154 for 6, and it's going to be McKiernan with a short leg and a slip. Got Kimber in the first innings, didn't he, with a really good delivery that just bounced and turned a bit. And on the back of, as you say, that first-class century, his first, some rather nice comments he made afterwards, isn't it, about McKiernan, that is. It was nice to read. Blows on his hand and bowls, tosses it right up. Kimber just strokes it, leans forward and strokes it back down the pitch to the Lancastrian.
He was very pleased that his mum and dad were in the ground, which is really nice for him. 27 years of age now, so he's no longer a youngster, really.
Blows on his hand and bowls. Kimber is forward. He just dragged his length back a bit. That was a nice delivery, but didn't really turn, and Kimber played it off the pitch out into the offside. Wanders forward. Kimber just flicks a bit of dust or loose grass off the surface. Takes guard. McKiernan is in. Kimber goes back, works it wristily out towards mid-on, but went more or less straight to Lakmal, so no chance of a single. McKiernan tosses it right up, full toss almost, and squirted out off the edge of the bat by Kimber. He went for the drive without really getting in position. Looked like he was trying to hit it straight, and it ran out to the point boundary where Shan Masood fielded. But it looked like a really juicy full toss, didn't it?
At the moment, I think it was going straight to Thompson at backward point, but it didn't. It went squarer than him and landed a long way in front of Shan Masood out on the boundary. McKiernan won't be too worried about somebody attacking him now.
No, he goes in and bowls back goes Barnes. It stays a touch slow and he's hurried, but he comes down on it in time and squirts it out towards Thompson at backward point. But goodness me, a risky moment. In goes McKiernan, and again staying on the back foot. Barnes works it, tries to whip it away into the leg side, doesn't time it, runs out to Lakmal, and there is no run. End of the over. 155 for 6. Kimber has 36, Barnes has 6.
Yeah, let's just be relatively pleased with the way things have gone so far. A couple of minor alarms with one ball keeping low and another one looping up towards Matty McKiernan in the first over. I don't think it hit the bat though, which was the problem if you're trying to take a catch. You can have two players taking the same catch, but you can't have anybody taking a catch if it doesn't hit the bat yet in cricket. It's only a matter of time for the ECB or ICC determine that you can be out no matter what happens. Suranga Lakmal is going to continue from the pavilion end. Almost at the halfway stage, Leicestershire 155 for 6, needing 163 to make Derbyshire bat again. In goes the Sri Lankan. Beholds that nice looking shot by Kimber, but straight to Anusdal at backward point. It was just something to say, really. Sorry, Richard, I wasn't trying to make any kind of point.
My head's already scrambled with hearing everything twice in my headphones.
You'll have a nasty headache. We'll go home tonight, just be heads up, heads will be pounding.
I think I might be cross-eyed already.
Correct things. In goes Lakmal and bowls. That one is defended by Kimber out into the outside. Sam Connors nips in front of Anusdal. Clearly wasn't moving at full speed. Again, there's no run. It's the only game going on in the second division now. All the other games, as I say, ending in innings. Victories for Nottinghamshire, for Middlesex and for Worcestershire. A Derbyshire win here will take them. Will give them 24 points and take them to within a point of Nottinghamshire. So Derbyshire might be able to get out of the wilderness of the second division. Who knows? Lackmell is in, and that one is pushed up to mid-off this time by Kimber, where Billy Godleman does the fielding. There is no run. Northamptonshire have moved on to 60. I'm going to keep a close eye on that throughout the course of the day, because Yorkshire declined to declare until they got a lead of 493 or something, or 99 or something ludicrous.
Yeah, I saw Jonathan Deutsch's pre-play report, so to speak, or preview, and he said it was so flat. He was looking for an excuse, I think. But
it's not like Dodgy. This one is outside the Aston. He'll ring me later on his way home. Always does. Tries to relieve the boredom of a long motorway journey by pestering me. 155 for 6 it remains. But yeah, Northamptonshire have now lost their first wicket, 66 for 1. That wicket just fallen at Wantage Road, so interesting times.
Yeah, if they finish 8 or 9 down,
that will be irritating, won't it?
Be asked.
By Jonathan Dodge. In goes Lackmell, bowls. That one is defended again, back to him by Kimber. Somerset have been dismissed for 207 in their second innings. It means that Surrey need 237 to win. It'll be a decent game, that. Potentially at the Oval.
55 for 6. Hard though it is to believe the new ball isn't far away.
Yeah.
Only
8
overs after this one.
Could make a difference, couldn't it? Could make a difference. Here's Lackmell. I can't imagine the ball too many more overs after this one. This final delivery of the over's been chopped away straight to, well, just to the left of Sam Connors, who moves around to do the fielding. Definitely his left. And it's 155 for 6 at the end of the over. Leicestershire still trailed by 163. And it's 1 over of leg spin and back to Alex Thompson. No idea why.
He's done this occasionally throughout the game, hasn't he, Billy? Or okay, obviously when Leicestershire are batting, just very short spells, and including possibly even 1 over. But we speculated briefly that McKinnon might have a bit of an injury, but don't think so.
Completely forgot to ask him.
So whether
ever the investigative journalist had an opportunity to talk to him, didn't ask him if he was injured. If you want the answers, well, you might have come to the wrong place.
So Alex Thompson is back on at the Bennett end, in and bowls. Forward goes Barnes, pushes the ball back up the pitch to the tall young off-spinner.
I think I'd have the bowler who's got 3 for 38 from 23 overs, bowling pretty much all day if he needs to.
McKinnon still bowling the old loosener, so to speak. Thompson tosses it up, it's driven by Barnes, but not really aggressively or indeed convincingly. Hitting hard down into the ground, out towards Potts at extra cover.
Well, Lackmell ball 3 overs for 6. I don't think he'll bowl anymore. If they want him to bowl with a new ball, I think they'll have to take him off now. They haven't bowled Sam Connors yet today.
Apparently the camera needs adjusting as well as the everything else. Forward goes Barnes. Right, we're a bit off centre.
Oh, yeah.
So let's
needs
see
to be turned around the other way, really, doesn't it? I think you'll find. It's upside down, though, isn't it? Is it?
No, it's kind of supposed to sit on the roof, but obviously you can't here. So it's the right way, and it sort of swivels. Apparently. Barnes defends that one out into the offside.
Ooh.
I've no idea whether we're...
Oh. Lovely.
No, it's
Yeah,
in
no.
goes Thompson and bowls. Barnes strokes it out into the offside. Can't get it past Potts.
Did you do an engineering degree at all, Richard?
Nope. Oh, it keeps... Don't laugh. Thompson is in. Barnes is groping a little bit forward. Look to turn back in towards the pad there, but it drops down at his feet. So, end of the over. Good probing one as ever from Alex Thompson. 3 for 38 from 24 now for him. 155 for 6. Leicestershire have negotiated the first 7 overs of the day.
Early update.
Updates time for Fletch. I'll see if I can sort the camera out in the meantime. I don't think I will be able to, but we'll see. I don't know whether that might be better. Oh, McKinnon's going to have a go now from the pavilion end. It's all gone a little bit quiet. We've lost the feed. Hurrah! Well, that's a start. McKinnon with a slip and a short leg. Bowls to Louis Kimber. Forward. Back down the pitch it goes to Matty McKinnon. Long-sleeved shirt, but pulled up. He's pulled the sort of sleeves up more or less to the elbow. 4 blows on the hand, including almost as he's running up. Then delivers. Forward goes Kimber and then pushes it past Duploy. That short leg out towards mid-wicket. Sood comes running in. Duploy follows the ball back and the 2 batsmen jog a comfortable single. Kimber's 4th of the morning. He moves on to 37. He's the top scorer in the Leicestershire innings. 33 for Sam Evans, 32 for Hassan Azad, 25 for Vian Mulder. McKinnon is into Barnes, who goes back and blocks it down into the ground. It bounces up. He's quick to go onto the back foot, Eddie Barnes. He's keeping it out at the moment. He's faced 29 balls. McKinnon is in. Barnes is forward, walking into a defensive push out into the onside. Masood's come up from sweeping on the boundary for Barnes. He's at a fairly conventional mid-wicket and he makes the stop. McKinnon in. Barnes forward. Thick inside edge on that one, off stump out into the onside. McKinnon himself picks up in his follow through, and then he's sending Masood back to the boundary. They'd be happy enough for Barnes to have a single from the final ball of the 74th over. Goes in and bowls. Barnes goes back and forces out into the offside, but can't get it past Anuj Dal, who moves across to his right at extra cover to make the stop. End of the over. 156 for 6. 74 overs have been bowled, so the run rate pretty much 2, only just over. But no further wickets lost this morning. 8 gone. 8 out of 96. Might be a few more, given that well, they won't be bowling possibly once the new ball comes along. But McKinnon and Thompson get through their overs quickly. The over rate is level. Kimber just uses his spike to extend his guard, so to speak, back towards the stumps, make sure he's batting in the right position. Update coming from BBC Radio Leicester shortly. Thompson is in. Forward is Kimber, pushing out into the offside. Sure, that camera is still not central. Might be now as Thompson bowls, and again Kimber is blocking out into the offside. is back alongside. We haven't actually done our update yet. You're early, a little bit early.
I was early, yeah, that's why I had to dash. I got summoned.
Thompson is in. Kimber is forward, thick inside edge, past the hand of Duploy. It bounced well before. He stuck out his right hand, but McKinnon moved to his left. At a wide-ish backward point on the 45 to make the stop. Almost leg gully as Thompson is in. Fuller this time, waiting for it, is Kimber. Plays it firmly, but straight back down the pitch to Alex Thompson, who makes the stop. It's conceded only 2 runs so far this morning. He is in again, bowled a bit quicker and flatter, and this time Kimber goes back and plays it firmly through the vacant straight mid-on area down towards Lackmell on the long on boundary and jogs another single. Moves on to 38. 157 for 6.
Definitely a leg slip now, isn't he, McKinnon? He's put the helmet on.
Yeah, indeed, for Barnes, who is awaiting the arrival of Thompson, who's in and bowls. Barnes is forward on off stump, pushing it out into the offside, and there is no run, so another one ticked off. 87 remain, 9 overs have been survived. Still 161 behind.
It's no wonder the camera keeps moving. The whole place is shaking. Almost halfway. Still. Matty McKinnon to continue. They will take the new ball straight away, I'm sure. Even if they keep Thompson on at one end with the extra bounce that the new ball will give him. So McKinnon underclubbed on the clothing.
Starting to put the jumpers on.
Yeah, underclubbed on the clothing. 157 for 6 then. Kimber on 38 on strike. Matty McKinnon from the pavilion end here at Grace Road. First delivery is pushed out into the offside, and Anasdal does the fielding. 1 or 2 in. I wouldn't call them hardy souls either, really, because where they're sitting on the far side in front of the pavilion, it's quite pleasant, really.
Optimistic souls, perhaps.
Yeah. His next delivery is down the leg side, not taken cleanly by Brooke Guest, and his half a catch. Like Eric the half a bee. Was that Spike Milligan? One for the kids, anyway. And he comes again, McKinnon, and the ball is driven out into the offside by Kimber. Around to his left goes Anasdal. Short leg slip. The man close in on the offside for Kimber as the leg spinner McKinnon goes in, back into his crease goes Kimber and pushes it out to Anasdal once again. Tosses himself a catch. There's McKinnon again. Richard pointed out yesterday, blows into his hands at least 4 times before every delivery. There we go, that's the 4th. And he's in now. Bowls to Kimber. Kimber. I just for a moment got confused because Leicestershire had moved from short leg to silly mid-off for Kimber. But now he's gone back to short leg for Ed Barnes. They picked up a single as the ball was clipped into the leg side there. Kimber moves to 39, 158 for 6. Doesn't take an awful lot to confuse me. And that did. You're not doing a half pass. I think they've completely switched you off now that they've got rid of the echo. They've no idea you're here. In comes McKinnon again, turned into the leg side by Ed Barnes. Fielded by Alex Thompson, who removes his cap and his sweater because he's going to bowl the next over from the Bennett end. Barnes on 6, Kimber on 39, Leicestershire 158 for 6.
A reminder that international cricket is coming to the Uptonsteel County Ground in July when the England women's team plays South Africa, and it's the last week in which you can get kids under 16 tickets free. The offer ends apparently on Saturday the 30th of April, so if you want a free under-16s ticket to watch international cricket, this is the week to get it. Contact the club. Eftoons. Thompson from the Bennett end is in to Kimber, who is forward. Is he caught behind? No, Thompson's appeal was very delayed, but it was that one that just drifts past the outside edge from Thompson. Guest went up, took the bails off, but I think he was appealing for the catch. They were looking at umpire Bainton at the bowler's end rather than umpire Pratt at square leg, but just in case he took the bails off too. Either way, he wasn't out. Thompson is in again, clipped back to him by Kimber, hard down into the ground.
Harry Kame is on in place of Wayne Madsen. Keenan had slipped.
Thompson bowls, drops a little bit short, back goes Kimber and turns his wrists on it as he tries to force it out into the leg side, but can't really get any power into the shot. Dahl feels comfortably enough. He's pretty short, straight mid-wicket now as Thompson goes in. Ooh, he went back there. Louis Kimber stayed a fraction low. He was looking again to work it into the leg side and somehow came off almost a leading edge. Along the ground out into the covers, but something of a false shot. Thompson is in, outside off stump and well left by Kimber. It was well wide. Chris Wright looks like he's going for a net. Down below us, a batting net rather than a bowling net, but hopeful signs from Leicestershire's point of view in terms of his potential return to the team next week. Thompson is in, again clipped into the leg side, hard down into the ground, and it bounces nicely for Dahl to make the stop. End of the over. Louis Kimber has 39, Ed Barnes has 6, 158 for 6. Sounds like the update is indeed now coming.
A bit of Barry White as well.
Either that or, yeah, or
love a bit of Barry
Derbyshire
White.
music guru has been patched into our feed. I think it's that sort of. You like a bit of Bazza, do you?
Love a bit of Barry White, yeah, absolutely. One of the few musicians I can actually impersonate. Oh, baby. I'll keep quiet, don't worry. I know my place.
Shall I keep going?
Yeah, you might as well, mightn't you? Yeah, I'm enjoying the music.
McKiernan is in, bowls slightly wide, driven away by Barnes. The sweeper is out there though. It's not Kane out there, is it?
Connors.
Connors, of course it is. So the single is taken. Barnes on to 7. 159 for 6, which means Leicestershire haven't lost a wicket so far today. They began the day on 146 for 6, still needing 174 simply to make Derbyshire bat again. They haven't added many runs to that, 13 of them, but it's just a case of surviving as far as the Foxes are concerned for as long as possible. Louis Kimber is the only real batsman that's left out there. He's 39 not out, but Eddie Barnes is he's turning himself into a very useful all-rounder, and he is 7 not out. They're holding Derbyshire up bravely at the moment, but still an awful lot of the day left to go. 84 and a half overs in fact, but it's a case of so far so good for the Foxes. They're 159 for 6. McKiernan is in, back goes Kimber, but plays the shot nicely, forces out into the gap in the covers, again out to Connors, takes one and is the first Leicestershire batsman to move into the 40s in this innings.
Over halfway now.
In terms, that is, of
making Derbyshire
bat again. Yeah. If they get over halfway in terms of overs left, then it becomes more, potentially more exciting. McKiernan is in, back goes Barnes, and just unfussily just waits for it, dabs it out into the offside, steps back.
It'll have been rolled with something this morning, won't it? The
They have
roll
to
at
put
the
the
start
light
of day?
one on.
I
Looks
think
like
so.
it's almost been cut, doesn't it? But may have had to be cut.
I think they do.
Overseen
they do
by
cut it
the,
every day. Yeah, it was overseen by the umpires.
McKiernan is in. Again, it's a little bit wide and it didn't really get up, and Barnes plays it comfortably enough off the back foot. Out to Connors again, it takes one. And I think McKiernan essentially filling in until that new ball is available, which now is only 2 overs away. But Leicestershire have got through the first 12 overs of the day.
I don't think it's any coincidence that Billy Godleman has just left the field to be replaced by Harry Kame. Perhaps go and have a chat with the coach, Mickey Arthur. Certainly won't be with the physio, the bowling coach, or the analyst, because they're all at the far end of the ground.
Look, you see, the camera's spot on now.
Is it? Terrific. Don't know why they haven't, if I'm entirely honest with you. Nobody wants to see us. 161 for 6 then. Here comes Alex Thompson from the Bennett end. His 4th over of this spell. He's 27th in total. 3 wickets already, and Ed Barnes pushes this one up to
That's
out to the middle of the bat, up to mid-on. Yeah.
If you're fielding with your hands on Eddie Barnes's feet, you might have been able to catch it.
I know. Next delivery is it's a thick inside edge out into the leg side where Connors will come in and do the fielding. Picks up a single, does Barnes, moves to 9, 162 for 6.
At Fletcher Sport, at Fox's Cricket 22. Should you wish
Are
to
there
be in
21
touch?
other out Fox's cricket then?
It was just the year, that's all, the season.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a bit more sense.
Number of seam bowlers in the Fox's Cricket. No, it's the year.
So you're going to change it to 23 next year?
Indeed. Just to
If we're
confuse
spared.
everybody.
If we're spared.
If spared, as you say. Silly points coming in.
Yeah, backward short leg and a silly point now, both under the hat. Or hats. This one is turned by Kimber in the same hat. Up to Anuj Dal, who's fielding at relatively close in at mid-on. It's sort of a straight mid-wicket really. There's a extra cover. Mid-on, mid-off. As Kimber drives straight back into the ground and into the right hand of Alex Thompson. Billy Godleman's back out. Won't be long before we see him back on the field, just off for the 1 over. Short leg slip now for Kimber as Thompson is in, and that one is whipped away into the leg side for another another single to Kimber. He moves to 41, 163 for 6 now.
I wonder if there's ever been a cricketer called Single. There must have been. Must have been.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Next delivery is defended by Barnes. Back to Thompson. It's the final ball of the over. 1 over to go until the new ball is available to Derbyshire. And Billy Godleman has asked somebody to pick us one. And whether that means the new ball, I'm not entirely certain. He was talking to somebody on the balcony below us, which is the Derbyshire change. And because Nicky Six is a famous rock singer, if he'd played cricket, 2 X's in his surname. I don't think that's his real name, actually, if I'm entirely honest with you. An old Ronnie Boundary, of course. The fictitious Ronnie Boundary.
McKiernan then, with potentially his last over for a little while. We suspect as much, unless of course he takes a wicket. Is in from the pavilion end, bowled slightly wide, slapped by Louis Kimber out into the offside, but Dahl, as ever, alert and athletic, falls to his right and makes the stop.
Connor's warming up.
McKiernan is in. Back goes Kimber and leaves. Ball doesn't do anything too much.
He's googly now.
Wasn't the googly on that occasion. 3, 4. There we go, 4 blows on the hand and in, drops rather short and onto the leg stump. Kimber works out in towards mid-wicket, then he runs the first one quickly, seeing that kind of a bit of ground to make up to the ball, but well, as almost as good a fielder as his batsman, got to the ball, picked it up perfectly cleanly and put in a beautiful throw to the bowler's end, so just a single. Had they taken on the second, they wouldn't have made it halfway.
I may have suggested the analyst was at the far side of the ground with a couple of others. It was the S&C, who clearly isn't necessarily required while you're out there in the field.
McKinnon is into Barnes, wide and going wider. Barnes steps forward and then just simply ignores the ball.
Come on, Matty Mack.
2 balls left in the over. Matty Mack is in and bowling. That's a better delivery on off stump. Good line. Decent length, but Barnes is forward. It doesn't turn. Gets to the pitch anyway, just about. Pushes it out to Dahl in the covers. Masood thinks he's spotted something and he's run across to have a word with McKinnon, who possibly has 1 ball left of his spell to bowl. So he said, going round, go round. And he'll pop one up to short leg. Could happen, he's going to go around the wicket. McKinnon. Barnes. Wanders down, does a spot of gardening, remarks his guard. And then is ready to face. McKinnon goes through his routine of hand blowing and is in and bowls. Back goes Barnes, skids on a little bit from outside leg stump, but Barnes middle of the bat as he defends on the back foot out into the offside, and Billy Godwin picks up the ball as it rolls towards him and helps it on its way with a slight curl of the lip, metaphorically speaking. Has done Derbyshire no real harm. In fact, it's been pretty good for them at 164 for 6, but it's going to be a nice, bright, hard, shiny new ball for Sam Connors to bowl with henceforth.
Is it the first ball of the match that's actually gone the distance?
It's been, they got them to look at it a couple of times,
they didn't change it though, did they?
No, I've got no notes of it being changed, so a good one as far as the manufacturers are concerned.
Well done, everybody.
Rare.
Paul's been in touch. Nicky Six's real name, Frank Carlton Serafino Ferrana Jr. You can see why he picked 6. All those autographs, it would have taken him forever, wouldn't it?
Fango's been in touch from Melbourne. He says he's looked at the odds online and he says if you were to put £20 on Leicestershire for the win today, you would lose £20.
Very good, very good.
What odds they are?
To win?
3 figures.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
I would assume so, even in a 2-horse race.
New ball in the hands of Sam Connors at the Bennett end bowls. That's left alone. That's a good leave by Louis Kimber. Goes at decent pace to the keeper. Took it about waist high, did Brooke Guest behind the stumps. In comes Connors again at balls. That's again left because it's wider of the off stump than the first delivery. I've got this work computer, it switches itself off really quickly, and I thought I'd solved it yesterday, but I haven't. It's quite irritating. It goes into a sleep mode very quickly. 164 for 6 as the sun disappears temporarily. Connors in and bowls to Kimber, who gets up on his toes and forces it up to mid-off, where Billy Godleman does the fielding.
I know how it feels as I get older.
Yes. very fine computer. I'm terrified of damaging it because it's not actually mine. It works, but it's actually been assigned to somebody else who isn't there at the moment, as this next delivery from Connors is pushed out towards Billy Godleman again at mid-off. Wider mid-off this time. He has to move around to his left to do the fielding. He throws it into Brooke Guest, who then basically tramples all over the pitch as he catches it. Nice work, Brooke. Really nice work. If he could have just moved his feet in a sort of circular motion as well, that would, for maximum impact, that would have been an excellent piece of work. There are 3 slips: McKinnon, Madsen and Deploy, as well as a man at backward point, and that's down the leg side and taken by Brooke Guest comfortably in both hands. Looking around, Lackmal at mid on. Well, he never really warms up, in all honesty. Anuj Dahl is the other potential, I would suggest, because they tend not to turn to Nick Potts too early. But none of the 3 are... he's got another coat on now. He'll be in a sleeping bag in a minute. The cameraman. Here comes Connors again. Balls to Kimber, who drives but doesn't time it inside half of the bat. Up to Saranga Lackmal. End of the over. Lackmal threatens to throw the ball to Billy Godman. Keeps hold of it, so I'd rather suggest that he is going to have a bowl from the pavilion end. It would make most sense. 164 for 6 Leicestershire. Kimber has 42. Barnes has 9. And Leicestershire have now gone 50 minutes without losing any of the 4 wickets they still have left.
Brunty willing to pay £20 to hear your Barry White again.
Pardon?
Brunty's willing to pay £20 just to hear your Barry White impression again.
That's all, yes. I've got a bit of a cold as well, which helps the Barry White, no end. I would quite like it if my voice was an octave or 2 higher. Not too squeaky. But,
it will be Saranga Lackmal who shares the new ball with Sam Connors, and will be coming up the slope from the pavilion end here at the Uptonsteel County Ground. 3 slips alongside Brooke Guest as Lackmal turns at the start of his run in past umpire Pratt and Bowles, and Barnes is forward solidly enough on off stump. Everything about Barnes is sort of slightly diffident, isn't it? It's the shots he plays, everything is slightly undemonstrative. Had a chat to him last night about his maiden fiver, and rightly made the point that when the other side is past 400, it kind of rather does reduce the impact, but obviously he was happy. But it was the previous day his mum and dad were here, so unlike Matty McKeon and Mr. and Mrs. Barnes were hopefully watching and listening on the stream. In goes Lackmal and Bowles to young Eddie, who steps forward and, as unfussily as ever, just lifts his bat over the line of the ball.
tending the sheep yesterday, I'd imagine. I assume he lives on a farm. I'm certain he does. I should have asked him this morning, because we were chatting to him this morning when he came off after warming up.
Well, he's coming on the cricket show on Tuesday, so I will ask him. If he says no, it doesn't leave me anywhere to go.
No, it doesn't really, does it? I should ask him before you go in.
Yes.
Yeah. No, he was. He's a really nice lad. We had a good long chat. It was good.
He is. Lackmal is in. Bowles outside off stump. Barnes steps forward and lifts the bat over the ball as it sort of swings away. His arm isn't at the vertical, it's a slightly, as I say, leaning, slingy action for Lackmal. That's how it generates what pace he has.
I wonder where he picked that up.
It does mean that, yeah, it does mean that the ball sort of travels away from the batsman, not necessarily swinging through the air. In he goes and bowls. That's a straighter delivery. Barnes is forward. Nice crack of leather on Willow, assuming that's what Eddie Barnes's bat is made from these days, but only as far as extra cover. Alex Thompson is the fielder, and there's no run.
Second mention of Alnmouth in my tweets this week. Tim Singleton's just returned from a lovely stay in Alnmouth. He says, glad to have some cricket to help get through his laundry. Dear, oh dear. Must have been a good say.
Lackmal is in. A good leave from Barnes, who saw it early. Guest didn't have to move behind the stumps, but neither was he reaching to his left, so it was a good few inches wide of off stump. One ball to go of the 16th over of the day. And they've almost got through the first hour.
Yeah, bowling too quickly here. They'll have to slow down a bit. As it was last week, Derek mentioned Almouth, where his daughter was.
In goes Lackmal, and a fuller delivery that just stroked out into the offside. Somebody's exhaust.
That is the smallest scooter I've ever seen.
I have to say, with the loudest exhaust. It certainly wasn't one of the Outlaws.
No. No, I think you do well to get them on one of those.
It's a. Perhaps he wants to be a member. He's trying to impress them. End of the over, 164 for 6. Barnes has 9 off 49. Kimber 42 off 150. And they have only added 19 so far for the 7th wicket. But they've been there for 16, 17, well, almost 19 overs actually.
Kimber on strike for a new over from Sam Connors. He pushes it up to mid-on. Well, Lackmal does the fielding. Who's and ours again. Slightly inside half of the bat, but nothing really to alarm any Leicestershire supporters watching and listening.
Did you favour the pizza place with your custom love?
Yeah.
Do you have an account then? Little card with little pizzas on.
I thought she might have offered me some kind of discount. The next delivery is down the leg side. He tries to flick it away. Kimber is taken by Guest, moving away to his left-hand side. Yeah. It's been different people every time, which I'm not a big fan of, because then they sort of don't get used to and go, oh, all right, and then give you a little bit extra something else. But no, it's very nice. Very nice. I would have preferred a couple of pints at the cricket club back in Horwich, or Blackrod, where the cricket club is. Third's playing this afternoon. Next delivery is again down the leg side from Connors. He's not happy with himself. He just flings his head back in disgust as the ball is taken by Brooke Guest once more. See if I can make the newsreader laugh again in 3 minutes' time. I was trying to just tell a joke, really. Here's Dave Fletcher at the cricket. Here's one for you. I'm not sure that the bosses would necessarily appreciate that at the end of a news bulletin. As Kimber waits, and again it's down the leg side from Sam Connors. He isn't got his radar right at all. He's kicking the ground as well now. He's not happy with himself. He's got 1 for 49 in this innings. He's got 15 now for the season. He won't be far away, I don't think, of 15 wickets. 14, no, that's maidens. 14 wickets, yeah, this season. So far in... this is his third match, and he bowls to Kimber. He gets one on target, and unfortunately Kimber gets his bat on it and pushes it up to mid-on, where Lackmal does the fielding, and they scamper through for a quick single. And Kimber will do a little bit of protection of Barnes, you would have thought. I know Barnes. I acknowledge that Barnes can hold a bat. Kimber is the senior batsman out there in terms of ability. Is there much between them in terms of appearances? Kimber and...
A couple of inches in height. Kimber obviously the taller of the two men.
Actually, Kimber's only in his 8th match and Barnes is in his 15th, so Barnes is probably the senior cricketer. He waits now, does Barnes, and defends this up to Saranga Lackmal. So the over comes to an end, 165 for 6, Kimber 43, Barnes 9. In fact, Ed Barnes has a better higher score as well.
First class game,
yes.
So it's not a great deal in it, really. And
both averaging 29 or thereabouts.
Barnes has a few wickets to his name now. He's Leicestershire's top wicket taker this season. Thinking about it now with those 5. Means he's got 12 for the season. Lackmal as Fletcher pops next door. Will continue from the pavilion end, is in and bowls. Good leave by Kimber, stepped across and rose a little bit on him, but it was just outside off stump, and he made sure the bat was well away from it, lifted it over the line of the ball. He remains on 43. Still is a wind around the ground as Lackmal goes in and bowls fuller this time, driven by Louis Kimber. Didn't quite place it as well as he would have liked, but should still pick up 2 as Potts has to run 15 yards or so to his right from backward point, sort of sweeper position. Does so, Kimber picks up a couple, moves on to 45. It was windy when I was running this morning, but it was there was a lot of cloud around. Then it's mostly cleared. The cloud, there's a few white clouds around, but mostly blue sky now. But the wind is still there from the east, and it is chilly. In goes Lackmal and bowls onto the legs of Louis Kimber, clipped neatly away towards wide long leg, who runs around to his right to field. So Sam Connors down there. Kimber takes 1, moves on to 46. 168 for 6 update coming from BBC Radio Leicester. Feed came and went, I'm afraid, so no cue. In goes Lackmal and bowls, and he's caught behind, is he? Waiting for the signal. Yes, he is. Barnes has gone, caught behind. Delivery from Lackmal that bounced a little bit, took the inside edge, came off the pad, went through to the wicket keeper, and Eddie Barnes has gone. So the breakthrough, it took an hour, but it has come. It's not Louis Kimber, but Barnes had applied himself admirably. But that one from Lackmal, a little bit of extra bounce with the new ball, perhaps took a bit of pace off the pitch too. Gathered a bit of pace off the pitch. And Lackmal, the overseas man, has done it for Derbyshire. Let's have a look at the replay, which is in slow motion. Yeah, good one actually. Good one. Just did straighten a little bit, drew Barnes forward and took the outside edge palpably on its way through to Brooke Guest. Eddie Barnes' first dismissal of the game, but he has now gone, caught behind. Really good delivery from Saranga Lackmal that straightened off the pitch. A little bit too good for Leicestershire's number 8. Callum Parkinson then comes out to join Louis Kimber. .168 for 7.
Thank goodness for that.
Well timed for you.
Yes. Yes. Little reference made to my desire to get off early. Wish I hadn't said it now, really. Dave Fletcher, who wants to get off early? Have they finished yet? No. A bit of boost for Saranga Lackmal as well. Wicket in the first innings. Gets the first wicket today. Have you had anything? Have you had one of those yet, where the batsman cross and the new batsman faces the next ball? I don't think we've had one yet.
I don't think so. Yeah. In other words, yes,
if they do cross, it doesn't matter, because the new batsman has to face the next delivery, or the first delivery, which has come from the 100, hasn't it? I don't mind that one. Is you, isn't it?
Lackmal is in to Parkinson, who goes back and tucks the delivery around the corner down towards deep backward square, and is off the mark with a single.
Yeah, but all the rules and regulations and laws, if they are indeed laws, I don't mind that one. So it's Lackmal's 5th wicket of the season. He's taken 5 at 63. He's bowled better than that over the course of the season. And then Connors at 15 wickets at 26, and Thompson 9 wickets at 36. They haven't had to lean too heavily on their overseas quick bowler. His time will come.
I've lifted spirits with that dismissal, though. He goes charging in and bowls to Kimber, a bouncer. Kimber just ducks underneath it. Keeps the new man down on strike. Callum Parkinson will be facing up to Sam Connors, and the new ball has worked. It was a super delivery, actually.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was.
Just straightened nicely.
He's a really good bowler. He just hasn't had an awful lot of luck. He played his first game at Lords. He'd only been in the country 2 days. And the difference between Lords at 2 degrees and Colombo at 57 or whatever it is, I think was just a bit too much for him, really. A little bit harsh to expect an awful lot of him.
Rather pleasingly, we're getting now replays in slow motion as well, so you could really...
that's better.
Yeah. Better and better and better, the quality of the streams. Next thing they'll look at is the quality of the commentary, and then we're in trouble.
Yeah, they know how much it costs to bring other commentators in. You can get a fair few quid for that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're cheap, aren't we, if nothing else?
Absolutely. 3 slips, the 3rd of whom has just arrived. It's Alex Thompson. He's gone in at 3rd slip because the short leg is Leas Deploy, who would have been the 3rd slip. Wayne Madsen just telling Alex Thompson where to stand, and Thompson said, I'm not going that close. Matty McKinnon, 1st slip. Wayne Madsen, therefore, in the middle. A 2nd slip. Shan Masuda's come down to long leg down below us as Connors comes in and bowls, and that one's turned up to mid-on by Parkinson up towards Saranga Lackmal. 169 for 7. Yorkshire have now got 3 Northamptonshire wickets, 89 for 3 they are. They still need another 410, so it's a matter of clinging on there if they possibly can. Gloucestershire head hurtling towards defeat to Lancashire, 86 for 5. As in comes Connors again and balls. That one is down the leg side. He lifts his bat out of the way of it. Parkinson, it's taken by Brooke Guest. Warwickshire only need 107 to beat Essex at Edgbaston, they're 4 without loss. Kent heading towards an innings defeat at Hampshire. Well, no, it's at Canterbury, I beg your pardon, against Hampshire. They're 107 for 3 in their 2nd innings, trailing by 240. So lots of big wins / defeats in this round of matches as Connors is in, turning to the leg side nicely by Parkinson. Potts has to turn and chase the ball towards the boundary. It's never going to reach the boundary, but they will come back for a 3rd run as Potts sends his throw on the way in now. Landed a good 15 yards away from the stumps where it's intercepted by Brooke Guest. They do get 3. Parkinson moves to 4, 172 for 7. Of course, Parkinson knows which end of the bat's which, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly
He
better.
should score a few more runs than he does in a way, but because he really does have ability with the bat.
Certainly a better batsman
This is an
than his
opportunity
brother.
for him.
Comes Connors again, balls to Kimber, who drives straight 4 runs. There was a dive from Saranga Lakmal, but that was a beautiful shot. And Kimber goes to a half century, 50 from 160 balls. That was his 5th 4 as well. He's batted really well, has Louis Kimber. And he's just giving Leicestershire that little glimmer of hope. 176 for 7.
What a lovely way to go to your 50. Nice high left elbow on drive. Beautifully played, Louis Kimber.
We're going to put it 2 yards to the left of a fielder, though. It's Lakmal's the fielder to put it 2 yards to the left of. But it was a nice shot. It was a nice shot. Connors is in again and balls to Kimber, who plays another drive, this time off the back foot, and this time it's not struck as well, so Saranga Lakmal can get around to do the fielding.
His 4th 50 in 12 first-class innings.
Decent.
That's very
good strike right
there,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Early days.
Well, he has the opportunity here to go on to 3 figures if A, he doesn't run out of partners, and B, he sticks around himself, because he's got 77 overs today. Next delivery from Connors is driven again by Kimber, and that's 4 more, this time just to the offside of the stumps at the non-striker's end. That was an equally nice shot, and he moves on to 54 as Billy Godalming goes to retrieve the ball from the far end of the ground, the Bennett end. It's 180 for 7.
2 lovely shots from Louis Kimber. So Barnes and Kimber at least have something positive to take from the game still. Looking at a comprehensive defeat, Leicestershire at the moment. One takes one's compensation where one can. 180 for 7. Parkinson takes guard from umpire Pratt. Lakmal straining at the leash, right? He's ready to go. Thompson's warming up again at 3rd slip. Hasn't quite got it right, has he, Connors?
Well, he did a lot down the leg side, and then when he's got it back onto the off stump, he's overpitched it, and they've been driven away.
Lakmal is in. Bowls to Parkinson, goes past his outside edge with another good one.
Lakmal, however, and it's interesting, I hadn't noticed it, I probably should have done. Lawrence Thorne on the Twitter points out it's Lakmal's first second innings wicket of the season. Wicketless in the second innings against both Middlesex and Sussex. In fairness, he hasn't got an awful lot of wickets full stop, but he's bowled better than his current average suggests, and that will sort itself out over the course of the season. I'm fairly confident.
Deep square has come into backward square as Lakmal goes in and bowls again to Parkinson, who's forward and takes a step, having bunted it out into the offside, but then says to Kimber, no, wait. Kimber quickly retreats back into his ground. The threat posed by Godalming's athleticism clearly not to be taken on. Look how his knee is.
It's not his knee.
Was it?
Oh,
was
yeah.
Was it
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Mid-chips.
His back was to us. But he just, I know, I shouldn't laugh, but it's just the way he stayed completely motionless on his knees for a good 8 to 10 minutes afterwards. Lakmal is in outside off stump. Parkinson leaves, lets it go through. It did amuse Sam Connors. Thompson. Well, he can't have really have cooled down too much, you wouldn't have thought. But anyway, he's doing some serious calisthenics at 3rd slip now. So I think we can assume that he's going to come straight
Turn the heater off, do you think?
Oh yes, by all means. Sorry, yes. Just the little. No, well, you can do it at the.
Just until I melt.
That was a bloke's turning off, switch it off at the plug. Goes Lakmal and bowls. Parkinson is reaching out for one, but getting to the pitch of it, pushing it wide of Godalming at mid-off. He has 10 yards or so to make to his left. So an easy one, but not 2 the batsmen decide. Parkinson on to 5, 181 for 7. Yeah, I'm more worried about the chair than actually I'm not sure the plastic they're on. Could be a little explosion of flame. Dave,
so they're not leather.
Dave is immolated.
I thought it was real leather.
The beard would go first.
It wouldn't take long, would it? We're going to see some spin. You know, Harry Kane's already come back from the far side of the ground to down below us to get the fielding helmet.
Lackmal in to Kimber, hits him on the back pad, looked to be... Oh, he's gone. He's given it. He's given it. Again, umpire Pratt thought about it for a long time, but that one feels is the final and potentially, well, it is the final blow, crucial blow, really, with respect to those who are to come. Louis Kimber battled away and played really nicely this morning for the first hour and a quarter. He went back to one from Lackmal, may have stayed a touch low. Umpire Pratt, as is his wont, thought about it for some little time, and Kimber must have thought, he's maybe not going to give it, but the finger went up in the end. Kimber goes for 54, 181 for 8.
Yeah, I got the same impression as you, that it just kept a little bit low, and that's what's done him, really. I mean, you would expect a pitch on day 4 to have the odd ball that misbehaves, and it has only been the odd ball. It's been a perfectly good pitch, but it just kept a little bit low. There's no point to me. Look at that, it is in slow motion as well. Very good. They stop it when it hits the... Anyway, it looks out.
Right pad
in
front. Might just have been towards the top part of the knee roll, but...
not too many complaints, eh?
No, it was straight enough for sure.
There's Bjorn Hendricks, one of the heroes of the first round of matches, wasn't he?
He absolutely was, but... You know, Bjorn, you batted 26 overs against Kent. Well, if you could just manage 76, we'd all be very grateful. He'll approach it in exactly the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I suspect even he knows that it's quite a big ask. Lackmal 2 for 25 now from 17.5. And he is proving his worth. Everything is working out nicely for Derbyshire, really. This will do his standing and confidence good.
Yeah, his averages started to plummet, which is good news.
In goes Lackmal and bowls to Hendricks, who is forward. No ball. Overstepped in his enthusiasm on that occasion. $183 for 8. Another 135 needed by Leicestershire to make Derbyshire bat again.
The average has come down to 50 now.
Goes and bowls, and Hendricks turns his wrist nicely on that full straightish, leg stumpish delivery and turns it out towards backward square and jogs a single. Just Will Davis to come, whom we know has a slight abdominal strain injury. The extent of it we're not quite sure, so but I think he'll be fit enough to bat now. But if that said, if the wicket falls quickly, they might not think if it is bad, well, making it worse. So we'll see. But we anticipate his batting. I think he was taking part in the football this morning, so one assumes they'd be okay.
Well, you can't take part in that and then not back, can you?
But I think I saw him out there. I stand to be corrected, as so often is the case.
We're going to see Alex Thompson. Of course we are. Needs to take the last 2 wickets to claim a fifer.
Kimber's final figures: 217 minutes, 163 balls, 6 fours.
Thompson is scratching away at the footmarks.
So 3.5 hours, over 3.5 hours, Kimber batted.
Play.
Last night he struggled, but he looked good this morning, I thought.
Well, he sort of batted in 3 phases, didn't he? Batted really slowly, then he speeded up as Thompson is in, and that one just bounces a little bit on Hendricks. Yeah, when Mulder was with him, he speeded up a bit.
Yes, I think it bounced a little bit more than he...
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that why Theus du Ploy's got his hands where he has?
Yeah.
He's got a South African at short leg and a South African at slip, as Bjorn Hendricks, who waits and leaves this next delivery from Thompson alone outside the off stump.
He may not be able to resist.
No,
having
which
a
is
swipe
that's fair enough.
But he can do, but
fair
he may
enough,
not.
I think, isn't it? Fair enough. Next delivery. Oh, and that one bounces very high. I'm not sure what Thompson was appealing for there, because it looked far too high to be a leg before.
Perhaps he thought he would have been coming back down by the time it
seemed very high, didn't it?
got towards the stumps.
Neil Bainton wasn't interested anyway. 184 for 8 it remains. Derbyshire need 2 more wickets. Thompson is in, and that one is defended. So 1 more wicket until we're in a Bradders situation. No joy. Next delivery from Thompson's full, too full really for any spin to be imparted on the ball, as it's smothered by Hendricks, just propping forward. Last ball of the over, so they always change the field for the last ball of an over. Don't know why. They've now got 2 slips and a short leg, as Hendricks defends this out into the offside, where it's fielded by Nick Potts. It's the end of the over, 184 for 8. Hendricks has 1, Parkinson has 5. Derbyshire getting closer. Although they didn't get any closer in that over, obviously. So it was a ridiculous thing to say.
So how many overs have we had today? 21 overs. 2 wickets taken. The 2 overnight batsmen battled away for an hour in the case of Eddie Barnes before he went caught behind off Lakmal Kimber, an hour and a quarter before he went leg before wicket to the same bowler, who obviously still has the ball in his hand. And he's going to be bowling to Callum Parkinson on 5 from 8 deliveries.
It's the best day for him to take 4 wickets though, because we always speak to the coach on the last day.
He goes and bowls. Parkinson is up on his toes to a rising delivery on off stump. Everything very compact and close together with Parkinson.
He already appears to be very popular with the rest of his teammates, Lakman. I mean, he is always smiling anyway, but when he was fielding in that game that was drawn last week, and some of his fielding's a little eccentric, they were all having a really good laugh and a joke with him. So I think they know what he can provide and potentially what he can't.
He goes and bowls. And Parkinson is leaning forward, deflecting the delivery out to backward point. Unlike the new England director of cricket, it's attitude. I remember being at Canterbury when Malinga had made the move to Kent for a short while, and he sort of chased the ball to the boundary, didn't get there, gave it his best, but just didn't get there, and Key shouted out across the Canterbury outfield, "You don't dive in, Sri Lanka then." Oh, nice welcome. In goes Lakmal, bowls, fullish. You heard the wait there, as Parkinson bunted it back past the bowler and between him and the stumps, but fairly slowly, so Godwin unable to get across from mid-off to make the stop.
At least he's not in a position of authority anymore, that's the good thing.
I mean, obviously that was, I don't know, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. I remember being somewhat taken aback. Lakmal is in again to Parkinson, who's playing nicely in the air, but passed Duploy out to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. Duploy actually ducked. It was in the air, but it was travelling, and one can't really blame Duploy in those circumstances for not keeping his head up and his eyes open and making a grab for the ball. Instinctively,
somebody
he ducked his head.
So you don't catch the ball. You don't catch the ball in South Africa, then, is that one? I just hear somebody shout. Oh no.
No, Derbyshire not inclined to go down the key route. 188 for 8. Parkinson on 2-9.
Scored 42 runs this morning.
Put out a man on the boundary, which seems a little
no real need, is there?
defensive. And Leicestershire still need 130 with 2 wickets in hand to make Derbyshire bat again. Lackmal is in full. Parkinson is driving. It squirts out past. Dahl might just have got half a hand to it to slow it down. He's now chasing after it. Could be 3, but he's so quick to the ball, Dahl, that what would have been 3 to most other fielders, I suspect, he ensures is just 2. Parkinson on to 12. 191 for 8.
They must have run 3. Because Parkinson's at this
they
end.
did make 3. Beg your pardon. There you go. I was praising Dahl to the
They might have
Scotch,
got 4 if it hadn't been for Dahl.
pace to get there.
I just noticed that Parkinson's back at the is at the non-strikers
They
end.
must have taken one for the throat.
Yeah.
Apologies. Lackmal's going to go round the wicket to the left-handed Hendricks, who goes back and defends very solidly out into the offside, and that is the end of Lackmal's over. His 19th, 2 for 35. His figures. Leicestershire 74 overs left to survive, 127 needed to make Derbyshire bat again, but just 2 wickets in hand.
I'm sorry, but
Updates time, indeed. Mango asking whether Davis is unfit. He has picked up an injury. Whether he'll bat, we're not entirely sure. I think he will. Thompson, hoping to find out shortly. We'll continue from the Bennett end. He'll be bowling to Callum Parkinson, surrounded by close fielders. A leg slip, a slip, and a short leg. As Thompson goes in and bowls to him. Turns his wrists on it, plays it in the air. Momentarily through mid-wicket. Rolls out in the end to Anuj Dahl. No run, sun behind one of the clouds as Thompson is in. Tosses it right up. Parkinson is forward, pushing it out to Potts. The only man in the covers. Godalmann's at mid-off. Shan Masood is out. Masood is out at on the point boundary, or cover boundary really, as Thompson goes in, props forward. Parkinson, it looks almost not to be playing at that one. It just turns but it hits him a long way outside the line of off stump. His bat was quite a long way from the ball as he pushed forward there, sort of almost hiding it behind his pad as Thompson is in again, getting to it on the full and driving it for 4. Godalmann slid across. He put in the dive at mid-off, but used his feet nicely there. Callum Parkinson got to it on the full and played it firmly enough to beat Godalmann's dive and run away to the long off boundary for 4. Lackmal goes in pursuit, or at least goes to pick up the ball. Underarms it back to his captain. Parkinson on to 16 off just 17 balls, 195 for 4. Wind gets up. Well, it is really actually looking at the flagpoles as Thompson bowls. Parkinson is forward, back up the pitch it goes. Strengthening, if anything. McKinnon picks up the hat that was left behind Brooke Guess and tucks it in his trousers. In goes Thompson, bowls. That's a decent shout for leg before. No, bat, says, I suspect, says umpire Bainton. End of the over. Thompson thinks it was very close. Stretched forward. Let's have a look at the replay. He might just have been outside the line, but it was a decent shout again. Parkinson with his bat tucked almost behind his pad. But the fact that he was given not out suggests umpire Bainton thought he was playing a shot at it. Otherwise, being outside the line might not have saved him. End of the over, 195 for 8. Parkinson 16. Hendricks a single. Lackmal will continue from the pavilion end, looking for his third wicket of the second innings. Update coming from BBC Radio Leicester. Very funky tune. Fletch might be able to identify it.
It's Billy Joel.
Is it?
Yeah.
That was very quick. You were quick to that. In the middle of the night, isn't it? Yep. Round the wicket goes Lackmal and bowls. Says very low, but it's going down for me. Fletch.
No, you're right.
Wasn't sure. Well, he was. He was wrong. River of Dreams. 195 but for 8, I'm afraid. Leicestershire, the defeat is closing in on them. They got through the first hour, but then they lost Eddie Barnes, one of the not out overnight batsmen. He was dismissed for 9, caught behind a really good delivery from Saranga. Lackmal made the score 168 for 7. Louis Kimber went to his 50. A really nice on drive to go to it as well, but soon afterwards he too was dismissed by Lackmal. Got a delivery that might just have stayed a little bit low on him. He went back and was given out leg before wicket for 54. 181 for 8 at that stage. It's gone on to 195 for 8. Bjorn Hendricks has a single. Callum Parkinson is batting nicely though. He is 16 not out off 19 balls. Unfortunately though, Leicestershire still need another 123 simply to make Derbyshire bat again, and they now have just 2 wickets left in hand. Lackmal is staying in. Round the wicket he bowls. Hendricks just turns his wrists on that full delivery, clips it out towards long on. There's no run. Mid on even.
I'm glad it wasn't the song that they started playing as soon as you'd finished, because that was just a generic male singer of the 2020s for me. They all sound exactly the same. I'm not a big Billy Joel fan, but...
Not that song, I must admit, for Billy Joel. I like some of this stuff. From Piano Man and things like that, I don't mind. Ooh.
Come on, Grandad.
Yeah. I get the raised eyebrow of disdain from my left. In goes Lackmal, and bowls forward. Leaning forward goes Hendricks. He took a step after he'd played the ball and pushed it out into the offside. There is no run. He was big in the 80s, was Billy. And 90s, really.
He's never really been big, has he? But I know what you mean. Very short man. When he married Christine Brinkley in the early 80s, she was about 1.5 foot taller than him, I think. Quite a comical figure. But very rich.
Lackmal is in bowling. It bounces a little bit on Hendricks as he plunged forward at that one. And played it quite well in the end. Pushed it out into the offside, out towards Alex Thompson, and there's no run.
Do you know the rules on lunch? Is it 8 down and it extended by a quarter of an hour?
I'm not sure. I wasn't too sure of the rules on the extra half hour last night as to whose choice it was, but one would suspect they'd go on for an extra couple of overs, if it's still 30 minutes away, as Lackmal is into Hendricks calmly. Turns his wrists on his defensive clip into the leg side, pushes it out towards Nick Potts, and there's no run. And as ever, Hendricks proving hard to dismiss. He has 1 but off 15 balls. Parkinson has 16 off 19.
Bill Goldman deep in conversation with Wayne Madsen. And Saranga Lakmal's figures 20 overs, 9 maidens, 2 for 35, which is decent. Through his entire time, but since he arrived at Derbyshire, he's never been particularly expensive. Economy rate of 2.6. Sam Connors is slightly more expensive at 3.3. Here is Alex Thompson to continue from the Bennett end, 195 for 8. Bowls, and Parkinson goes back and pushes it back towards the off spinner, who's got a slip, a leg slip, and a short leg as he bowls to Callum Parkinson. Too many catching positions on each side of the pitch, as well as this next one is driven up to mid-on. Saranga Lakmal will have a shot at the stumps and it misses. We've seen he can throw pretty well if the ball comes straight to him, which that one did. But he didn't manage to dislodge the bails. That was well backed up by Nick Potts. A whole host of Leicestershire clad players come back from the nets. Next delivery to Hendricks is pushed out into the offside. There's no run.
Led by Chris Wright.
Trying to get,
Swindles,
they're trying to get some information out of
yes.
Shan Masood, aren't they? How do you do that? Here is Parkinson again. Hendricks turns this one into the leg side. There's no run.
See who he's talking to over there. Paul Nixon, obviously, is involved in the conversation.
How much to come to Grace Road, Shan. In comes Thompson again. That one is driven along the floor. Half stopped by Arno's Dahl.
We could find him a place in Stamford, which is very close to his.
He likes it, doesn't he? No, he likes Stamford, yeah. He's very happy in Derby, from what I'm told. Here is Thompson around the wicket, bowls. That was pushed out into the offside by Hendricks. There's no run. It's the end of the over. 196 for 8. Just the one run off that over. But no real alarms for either Hendricks or Parkinson.
He's certainly playing as though he's happy in Derby, isn't he? Running back into the middle now, the over having finished. Matty McKiernan is going to replace Saranga Lakmal from the pavilion end.
That little spell from Lakmal was 5 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 15.
Just what Derbyshire wanted. Removed both established batsmen, so to speak, Eddie Barnes and Louis Kimber. McKiernan. He's going to be bowling to Callum Parkinson on 17, short leg and slip. Wayne Madsen, hands plunged deep in pockets. It is a cold wind. Did you not find that on your run this morning?
Yes. I'll say.
Yes.
So we've got a sweat on there.
McKiernan is in very wide and Parkinson steps forward, lets it go through.
I bet you have had a run this morning, haven't you? I knew you would have. Yeah. Just the 10 miles.
8 today.
8 miles? Really? Blimey. You could have picked my bags up and brought them here.
McKiernan is in. Nice loop to that one, and it's a straighter one. Parkinson on the walk, drives it out towards mid-off. Godalman falls across to his right and makes the stop. I was thinking, should I wait until this afternoon? But I thought, no, we'll assume Leicestershire will still be batting. I'll be optimistic. As McKiernan is in. Parkinson solidly forward, out into the offside.
How's that working out for you?
Still going, still going. 20 to lunch, you know, it's been those who thought it might have been over by now. McKiernan in, Parkinson forward again, head right over the ball as he blocks it out towards Dahl, the man at extra cover. He's going to go round the wicket. bowl into the rough, see if he can get a little bit of extra bounce and turn out of the rough. Will Parkinson be brave enough to sort of kick it away? It can still bounce a bit on you. Let's see what happens. Round the wicket goes McKiernan, bowls, and he's plunging forward. It did hit the pad, but obviously pitched a long way outside leg stump, so no point whatsoever in appealing.
Didn't stop them though.
You'd have to sew Wayne's lips together, wouldn't you? Just stop him exclaiming after each delivery. In goes McKiernan. It's a short ball and it's whipped away by Parkinson off the back foot, but only as far as Masood, who's coming in from the mid-wicket boundary. But it does mean that Parkinson keeps a strike. He's a bit cross with himself there that he didn't manage to get that away to the boundary, but it's a nice sound of ball off bat, and he's batted well, Callum Parkinson. He is on 18 of 27 balls, 197 for 8. They're going to tick Leicestershire past the 200. Not respectability in any way, but a little landmark of sorts.
We'll get past their first innings of 2-1-3.
They've been dismissed for 2-1-3 twice now in their 3 first innings, so to speak.
It's not enough, is it?
No.
It's not enough. It's
nothing.
the problem that Derbyshire
close,
had.
is it?
Really, the problem that Derbyshire had last season. They were behind at the halfway stage of every single game, pretty much. As Thompson comes in from the Bennett end, and that one bounces, but to the left of Leicestershire, who didn't manage to thrust out the left hand and catch it.
See, I'm not entirely sure he's a sort of natural short leg bat.
No,
man.
I'm not.
Deploy.
He's always in there, though. Crouches down now. Parkinson comes and smashes this back down the ground. That's going to go all the way, I fancy. That was a really good hit. No, it's bounced and gone for 4, but that was a good hit from Parkinson, and the 200 is up for Leicestershire. They move on to 201 for 8. Parkinson up to 22.
He fairly bristles with defiance, doesn't he,
Yeah.
Parkinson? Registers it in every inch.
Proper Boltonian. They're always angry about something. I'm not from there, I just live there. He's definitely from there. He waits now. Thompson bowls to him again, and he just turns this around the corner to the man at leg slip, all along the floor. Matty McKiernan from just up the road in Lee. Guest born in Manchester. Proper Lancashire reunion out there in the middle. As a reverse sweep comes out from Callum Parkinson. I'm not sure that's entirely... Well, I was going to say the way forward. They still need 117 runs to make Derbyshire bat again. He might as well just have a bit of a net out in the middle, mightn't he? Callum Parkinson, in all honesty. But first reverse sweep we've seen. This time he leaves alone outside the off stump.
Thompson's into his 31st over. That 4 from Parkinson, just a 4, was only the 3rd boundary he's conceded.
No, he's bowled well, hasn't he? 31 overs, 3 for 50. Or it will be after this delivery, because that's Wayne Madsen leapt in the air then. That one was pushed very comfortably into the onside. There was no run, so it is 31 overs, 9 maidens, 3 for 50. 201 for 8, Parkinson 22, Hendricks 1. And the 1 over of Matty McKiernan. Thanks very much, Matt. We're going to see Sam Connors.
1 over spells.
Well, McKinnon's had a number of 1 over spells, I think. I bet he's had at least 3, if not 4 1 over spells.
Whether Godalming just wants to see whether he's getting bounced. There wasn't too much loop. He didn't, unlike Thompson, the taller of the men, 2 spinners, who gives it a little bit more air. It's McKiernan less inclined to toss it up, see if it bounces a bit extra. That said, given he only gets an over at a time, it's hard
to
to get
rhythm,
into a rhythm.
Yeah, very hard to get into a rhythm.
And to be brave in that respect. So, Connors, but everything Billy Godalming has tried has pretty much worked out, is in and bowls slightly short to Hendricks, who goes back and plays it firmly and quite correctly. He's quite stylishly out to mid-off, where Godalming feels and there's no run. His every change has pretty much worked in the game.
Including one of those one-over spells for McKiernan on day one.
Indeed.
Just before lunch.
Connor's bowls, again a little bit short and wristily driven out into the offside. Godalming tumbles across to his right and makes a stop. It's just one for Hendricks, but like so many left-handers, he does have a elegance about him and the way he plays, and he was nowhere near the pitch of the ball, but there was a really nice flourish and backlift the way he hit that one out into the offside for just one.
Good stop by Godalming that as well. It just bounced in front of him as he tumbled to stop it.
202 for 8. Parkinson on strike. Connors in. Bowls. He's looking to flick it away down the leg side. Hits the pad, so it trickles down to fine leg. The slide is put in down there by Thompson.
I assume it's Thompson because he still looks quite big, doesn't he? And
He
he's a
does.
long way away.
He got there, did well to get there. Wasn't too gymnastic a piece of work, but he got there. That was the main thing, and got his throw away. So
He was
just 2 leg
concerned about
byes.
going over the rope as well when
Yeah.
he got back to his feet, wasn't he? Which is why he threw it rather awkwardly.
Did well. Saved a couple of extras. 204 for 8. Connors in. Bowls. Grunt of effort. A little bit too short though. Parkinson went back and was able to play it away through the leg side down towards Masood on the sort of square leg boundary. In front of the little knot of spectators in the Uptonsteel stand, which include Liam Gibbs, who's out there. BBC Radio Leicester, shortly to be of national broadcaster,
No.
not the BBC. One that pays a bit better. Connors is in to Hendricks, who goes back and calmly defends back down the pitch to Derbyshire's young seamer with a sort of sweatband. What was on his wrist, he's just pulled it up almost to his elbow now.
Yeah, that's where he wears it, sort of on his forearm. It's a strange place to have one, but
68 overs and this delivery remain. Connors is in again. Back foot defensive shot from Hendricks. Out to Godalming at mid-off, and there's no run. Hendricks looking pretty solid out there. Parkinson looking positive. Leicestershire at least making Derbyshire work for these last few wickets. 205 for 8. We are 13 minutes before the lunch interval. 113 Leicestershire trail by 2 wickets needed by Derbyshire. Wayne Madson's running off. Harry Kane is running on.
I wonder if Harry Kane will go into slip. Very, very seldom see him feeling anywhere near as close to the batsman as he is here.
He has indeed.
He has gone into slip. Thompson with that slip, a short leg and a leg slip, bowls to Parkinson, who turns it into the leg side. And there is no run. Derbyshire women playing Yorkshire women today. T20 at the moment. Thompson is in, and that one is his attempt to sweep it. It's hit his pad, but it would have been going down leg side, I fancy. Derbyshire won the toss and batted first, made 183 for 2. And they already have Yorkshire at 19 for 2, so excellent work by Derbyshire's women. This one is defended up towards Nick Potts out in the offside.
Playing for lunch now.
Well, whenever that might be. Presumably they know. Parkinson goes back into his stumps and just dabs it into the offside. Harry Kane, as you might expect of somebody who's been carrying drinks for 4 days. very keen to go and do the fielding there. He crouches it, a solitary slip. Parkinson pushes it out into the offside where Potts does the fielding. Lots of applause, mainly from Leicestershire, who's in a short leg. McKiernan now does have his cap tucked into his trousers. Leg slip, and there's a catch attempt by Harry Kemp. I don't think it actually hit the bat in the end. He went for the reverse sweep again. Kemp did cling on to it, but it's the end of the Thompson over.
Sounded quite wooden, didn't it? But there wasn't any real excitement.
No, I think the bat hit the floor, but I don't know. Now Harry Kemp, having taken that catch that wasn't a catch, comes off.
Hard to tell. And jogs back to second slip. What was he? 2 minutes off?
Maximum. Just that one over.
Connors is into Hendricks. Tucks him up a little bit. A little bit of in movement to the left-hander, according to Hendricks' hand signal. But again, although there wasn't too much foot movement from the big South African, he played it very competently. Out into the leg side, very straight bat. Connors is in again. He's looking to drive. It's like pleasantly bent knees, but doesn't quite time it, and it bounces out rather to Godalman. The hop at the start of Connors' run-up is not as pronounced. Whether it's just because his back to us, his back is to us. There it is there, though.
Yeah.
It is there. After about 3 paces, he goes in and bowls a bouncer, and Hendricks getting in position to try and do something to the ball. Realised he couldn't reach it anyway, so left the bat sort of resting on his left shoulder.
I remain unconvinced that it was there last year. If I'm entirely honest, I had to go back and have a look at some footage, but he says it was. Only really noticed it in pre-season.
He's actually started his run when he does it. There it goes. Not much of one. In he goes and bowls to Hendricks, who is driving. It's in the air for a while as it squirts away towards backward point. Bounces well short of Shan Masood, who makes the stop away to his left. Nick Potts starting to warm up now. But he's potentially could only get one over as well, but one over before the interval as well, if we take the interval immediately. Connors is in. He's leaning forward. Hendricks pushing the ball back. He's getting in position to drive, but it just came back into him a little bit. Ended up pushing it back towards Sam Connors.
Has Dahl bowled today?
No,
I think he
not
had.
today. We've had almost 16 overs with this new ball now. Connors bowls solidly forward is Hendricks. You heard him call wait as he pushed it out into the covers, and that's the end of the over. McKeon putting on the helmet. So it might be McKiernan then. It is. Not Potts.
It'll only
Potts
be
was just hopeful.
This will just be a one over spell, won't
Yeah.
it? I would have thought.
Absolutely. 30 overs have been bowled this morning.
Rattling through them. We're still in level though.
On time then, yeah. According to the over 8, but given that there are still, 8 minutes until tea, 7 minutes, and we're on 30. The correct 32 overs in the session.
For those Derbyshire supporters listening, it's lunch, not tea. But
Did I say tea?
you did,
You.
which would have alarmed a few people. If Leicestershire is still batting with 2 down at tea, you'll have your little chart going. You'll have to commentate on every ball.
I won't start it till after 2. But I might then. Big Bjorn.
It'd be remarkable if he could do it twice. Who was he batting with last time?
Hassan Azad, who batted through the entire day.
That's slightly different then, isn't it?
It is.
Because it's Callum Parkinson on strike here.
And he actually only faced 60 balls. He's already faced nearly half that.
Yeah.
We're not at lunch yet.
The hand blower is back as he bowls McKinnon. That one bounces, but just completely ignored by Callum Parkinson, really. Taken chest high by Brooke Guest outside the off stump, turned away from him.
Thompson got one to do that yesterday, didn't he?
There is just the odd ball that does something. Callum Parkinson certainly thinks it's lunch at 1 o'clock. He's slowing it down as much as he possibly can. That one is clipped by Parkinson. A full toss up to Sarenga Lakmal at mid-on.
Missed out a bit there, didn't he?
There's a lot of space out there to hit the ball into, and he hit it straight to Lakmal. As we know, 2 yards either side. You're in business. Next delivery from McKinnon, turned into the leg side to the left of the man at short leg. Nick Potts comes around to do the fielding. So the leg is going to be bowling to the left-hander, which they don't particularly enjoy. And Anuj Dal's warming up. He'll be ready for 1 over before lunch. Why not? Sam Connors bowled 2 overs, 1 maiden, 0 for 2. We haven't had a run for a while, apart from that one. Well, just a complete sea of dots on my computer screen before that single was taken. 206 for 8. Bjorn Hendricks on strike. McKinnon bowls to him. He pushes it straight back to him. So 2 balls potentially until we see Nudge for the first time today. McKinnon is in, and this one is pushed into the offside by Hendricks. Again, it's Potts who does the fielding and then the polishing before returning the ball to Matty McKinnon. Oop, false start from McKinnon. He's going to blow in his hands again. And he's in. And Hendricks clips this full delivery into the leg side, just backward a square down to a sort of short, fine leg where it's fielded by Alex Thompson. It's the end of the over. Well, it seems that Anuj Dal was warming up for nothing because Sam Connors is going to come back. We're going to continue with the 3rd over of his current spell. Leicestershire 206 for 8. Hendricks has 2. Parkinson has 24. They trail by 112.
Given it is Connors, it looks like this will be the last over before the interval. No need for Derbyshire to hurry. So the skies are pretty clear. Certainly no rain is forecast. Connors is ready to go. And so now is Parkinson. Connors is in, bowls. Parkinson jumping slightly in the air. Excuse me, as he played that on the back foot firmly down towards mid-on, intercepted en route by Potts running across the mid-wicket. No run.
Just Cos suggesting that the strapping that Sam Connors has on his arm is to help with tennis elbow.
Okay. It had just slipped down previously. Connors in again. It's a little bit short outside off stump, up on his toes. Parkinson cuts it away through the offside, or drives it, back foot drives out into the offside. Potts picks up around, what, a yard or so inside the ropes in front of the manual scoreboard. Parkinson picks up 3. Nice shot from Callum Parkinson.
Potts looks absolutely shattered. It's deployed.
It's not Potts, it's deployed.
Yeah.
I thought it was left. Yeah, the left-handed throw.
And he's run all that way with the fielding pads on as well. Nobody looks less than impressed.
A 7 briefly looked like a 2, didn't it? 76-26. The left-handed throw should have given it away. Connors in to Hendricks, who leaves outside off stump calmly. Does everything calmly. I take it as read that he just doesn't get flustered about anything. Fletch popping next door to update BBC Radio Derby. Leicestershire have made it through a session, at any rate. Tail, if not wagging, is showing plenty of defiance. Connors in, bowls short, and Hendricks getting ready to, again, get in position to try and hook it away, perhaps. Moved the ball moved away from the left-hander slightly, and rehearses the hook or the pull, but in the end left it alone. Wisely, I suspect. Almost got in a bit of a tangle, could just have clipped the blade as it went through, it didn't. It is now 1 o'clock, so this will be the final over. 2 balls to go. Connors is in. Again, it's short, and Hendricks is pulling this time, but it was into, excuse me, the body rather, and he didn't quite get it all, but paddled it down towards wide long leg and takes 1. One ball to go in the morning session. Parkinson on 27 to face it. Connors is in, bowls a very short bouncer to him. Parkinson ducks, didn't really need to do so, and that is lunch. Yep, players walking off. 210 for 8. Leicestershire at lunch. So they've got through the first session. They had 4 wickets at the start. They have just 2 remaining now. But been good efforts, particularly from Louis Kimber, who made a very good 50 off 160 balls. It moved on to 54 when he went leg before wicket to Saranga Lakmal, who had earlier also dismissed Ed Barnes with a really good delivery that just left the right-hander, took the edge and was caught by Brooke Guest behind the stumps. At that stage it looked like play might end in this session, or the match might end in this session, but Parkinson batted with some aplomb in going to 27 not out off 47 balls. Hendricks, as ever, hard to dismiss, is 3 not out off 35. The Foxes need another 108 to make Derbyshire bat again. Survive 64 overs. We'll be back with you in around about 40 minutes time. You'll hear me do an update, but possibly first, slightly to some people's surprise, I suspect, we'll be back with you for the start of the afternoon session. The players have just left the field for lunch, and there'll be a few will be surprised about that. They would have anticipated Leicestershire having gone down to defeat sometime this morning. But although they started the day with only 4 wickets remaining to them, they only lost 2 during the morning session. Those are the not-out overnight batsman Eddie Barnes, who was caught behind off the bowling of Saranga Lakmal for 9, and Louis Kimber, who made a very nice 50. 54 he was on when he too was dismissed by Lakmal, in his case, leg before wicket. Callum Parkinson has come in and played very nicely, though. He's 27 not out of 47 balls. And Buren Hendricks has already proved he is hard to dismiss. He is 3 not out of 35. 210 for 8 at lunch. Then Leicestershire need another 108 runs simply to make Derbyshire bat again, or alternatively survive 2 more sessions or 64 more overs. But at least they're showing some good fight down here at the Uptonsteel County Ground this morning.
What I might do, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to use their cage so I can watch it. Don't worry, I'll tell you. You get your shoulders down. Camo did say you'll come and catch the net. You can use their cage, but it's not the end of the world.
Found the answer, Rick. You found the answer. Apparently, the CB directed that they would like to see, analysts would like to see where there is a double contribution or more than one contribution. However, from a statistical perspective, the last known person will always be the pitcher. So, right as well, I'm not bothered. Absolutely. I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask you. Yeah. fucking grow it every week. You want to grow it?
Yeah, we just, well, yeah, I don't know if anybody will come back late tonight. Yeah, no, just definitely. Yeah, you said someone. Yeah, no, you think what you check that all one place. Oh, yeah, lovely, yeah. What? Yeah, that's the minute we're back there, you know. On the morning, say that. I think you and Dave Calvin are ahead of me with them. I've never done it routinely, but yeah, probably when I was younger, that way old Sunday didn't go. I didn't really practice it. Still around 2000 as well. When I first came on Gower, Willie, Ryan, the Traitors, Agnew, Richard Cage, Whittaker. Yeah, no, that's what I remember. Hanging on in there. Yeah, never quit. Oh, sorry, you're Oh yeah, he just likes to take pictures. I used to follow City everywhere, but I'm fed up with the game moving to the telly, and no, I've had enough of it now. I'm fed up with the politics, and this is the age when we're doing stuff. I like 2020. I bought a regular. I know it's good. No, I like 2020. I mean, this is my favourite. But no, I mean, I come from an age where I started. 3-day championship, Sunday league on Sunday, 55 representatives. And then it went to it's still one division, but you had the 4-day league, the 6. I think it was best league was Thursday, Monday, and Sunday game against the same county in the middle. The Saturday was day and drill. You were guaranteed, sort of, if the weather was right, 2 days cricket. Right. So you've got to enjoy what you've got now, I'm afraid. So yeah, nice to speak to you, Neil. Yeah. But one of the days we literally get in the car. Yeah, but you get in the car now too, which will be the end of the moment by the cricket that's gone. So yeah, I'm doing all right. Everybody was there, I had got
bolt upright then, wasn't it? Wobble. Every time I catch an out, my hand's so dry, stuck at the bottom of the back. That little one just keeps tearing.
Oh, you're off the balcony, no?
Yeah.
Maybe go and stand under here, though.
Okay, Jack, yourself.
The round follower. Go back in. Right, don't worry.
Belly. Belly. You shut that right back. You got it. Oh, shindig! Taking them swings away from him on the shin. You do well to get them back. He's just, yeah, already. Oh, thank you.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Uptonsteel County Ground, Grace Road in Leicester. The afternoon session on this final day of the LV Insurance County Championship fixture between Leicestershire and Derbyshire. Ball-by-ball commentary brought to you by BBC Radio's Leicester and Derby. Richard Ray, myself and Dave Fletcher, your commentators for the game. You forgive the slight surprise perhaps in my voice that we are still here. Leicestershire having begun the day with just 4 second innings wickets in hand and still needing another 174, I think it was, to make Derbyshire bat again, but they got through the morning session for the loss of just 2 wickets. Eddie Barnes for 9 and Louis Kimber for 54, the 2 overnight not out batsmen. But Callum Parkinson on 27 not out off 47 balls, and Bjorn Hendricks on 3 off 35 have acquitted themselves admirably, and we are still here. 64 overs remain for Derbyshire, well, minimum thereof remain for Derbyshire to take these last 2 wickets. Leicestershire, well, they would dearly love to get into a position where Derbyshire have to bat again, but they need to score another 108 runs for that to be a requirement. 210 for 8 then, and Alex Thompson, the Derbyshire off-spinner, is going to continue when he's finished digging up the pitch at that far end from the Bennett end. Afternoon, Fletcher.
Oh, Rich. Yeah, still here.
I took about 8 minutes to say that.
I'm not entirely sure why, but there we are. We all know what's going to happen. I've been in this position so many times watching Derbyshire. Actually, that's not true. Normally they didn't get to the 4th day. So it'll be Bjorn Hendricks to face the first delivery after lunch. Alex Thompson, as Richard said, is going to continue the attack from the Bennett end. Round the wicket, he balls to the left-hander who pushes it out into the offside. If they were smashing the ball to all parts, it'd be slightly easier to commentate on, really, wouldn't it? But you wouldn't expect them to be, obviously, as Hendricks defends this next delivery. Back to Thompson. Good to report. So Lewis Rees bowling at lunchtime, out in the middle. Not at full pace by any manner of means, but bowling. Around the wicket comes Thompson, left alone by Hendricks. So that's good news. The left arm option is on its way back. I don't imagine we'll see him before the T20 actually bowling, but there is Thompson again. That's edged and caught by Wayne Madsen. No, it's not. It's actually turned and bounced and missed the edge of the bat.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's turned it too much.
Out of the rough to the left-hander.
Wow.
Something of a waft from Hendricks.
It wasn't a great shot. We'll be concentrated now, and this one is played off the back foot, backward of square on the offside, and fielded by McKinnon. Got so excited then. Too excited.
It just looped so slowly it couldn't have come off the
Yes. Next delivery. It is all turning to the leg side. Catch, it was the shout. It was stopped by Elias Deploy under the helmet at short leg.
This is what a pitch should do, isn't it? We're after lunch on the final day.
Yeah.
It should turn a little
I'll
bit.
say.
And we've maintained throughout that it's been an excellent cricket wicket. And if you're good enough, you'll make runs on it. And if you're good enough, you'll take wickets on it. Something for everybody. Looks like it's going to be Mr. Potts, who we didn't see this morning, did we? I don't recall. Don't think we saw him bowl this.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
So he's going to bowl for the first time today. Picked up an important wicket yesterday evening, that of Vian Mulder, who was looking pretty good in going to 25. When Potts brought one back and had him leg before wicket. brief word with Callum Parkinson. He was saying how good the pitch was, really. He said it in a sort of self-disparaging way, sort of, you know, that's the only reason he's still there. And goes, Potts bowls to him, that looked to stay a fraction low, but he plays it well on the back foot. So I said he was looking pretty good out there. Yeah, good pitch. The implication being that was why.
Not quite as good as last week's pitch.
No. Well, depends on your definition of good.
Oh yeah, well yes, I mean it was an awful pitch really last week, but
Potts turns. Runs in, bowls fullish. Parkinson strokes it out on the offside towards Godalming. He's taking a few deliveries to work up to his full pelt. Nick Potts.
The ball he got Mulder with kept a bit low, didn't it? Yesterday.
Looking to skid one through Parkinson's defence. In he goes and bowls, and he's reaching for a wide one. Driving. It was a long way away from his body. But Hendricks in the first over, and now Parkinson in this. Perhaps a little indication of a change of mind or change of mindset from the Leicestershire batsman. We might as well try and pick up a few runs, get close to the, to making Derbyshire bat again. The point at which that happens, long way away at the moment. Potts is in and bowls, goes through Parkinson just outside off stump. I don't think it carried on the full to Brooke Guest. Guest certainly didn't take it cleanly, but I think that was because it sort of reached him on the half volley really. And it did stay a little bit low. Parkinson was on the back foot and it didn't really get up.
Change of mindset or a good lunch and all the bloods rushed to their stomachs.
Callum was out pretty early. Don't know about Big Buren. But he's a very fit man and he bowled a decent lick throughout. Potts is in. Parkinson is forward and beaten genuinely again that time. Good bowling this from Potts. He was beaten genuinely last time, but he didn't play the greatest of shots. But that one, a little bit of bounce.
Where's he been? Potts, where's he been?
Pottsy.
I know they don't want to run him into the ground. He's only 19 years of age. It's only his second game, but
he goes, Pottsy, and bowls full, driven nicely by Parkinson. Godalming had to move to his left to field. He picked up it quite leisurely, actually, and then still hurled the ball at the stumps. Parkinson put in the dive, the throw missed, and although Madsen inevitably, I'm sure, bellowed as though it was desperately close, I think Parkinson had made his ground. I saw Brooke Guest having a chat with somebody during the interval just outside the pavilion, and when you're up close they look so young.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Think.
He's got a bit of a foppish hairstyle going on as well, Brooke Guest at the moment.
Red of hair?
Yeah. Strawberry blonde, isn't he? That's why he's a wicket keeper, because then he's got an excuse for wearing long sleeves all the time. Alex Thompson to continue. He's going to come over the wicket to the right-handed Callum Parkinson. 100 overs old this innings though, for the 211 runs that they've amassed, if that's the right word. Parkinson turns this first delivery into the leg side. Straight to Anuj Dal.
I think BBC Radio Leicester made a plan for updates this afternoon, not really necessarily anticipating they'd be required, so
I thought I might
wait and see what happens.
Here comes the next delivery from Thompson that Parkinson is forward to. It just feels like you're waiting for the inevitable to happen until all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and it's going to take a while. They'll be lucky if they're level by T, but at this rate, but This one is pushed into the offside by Parkinson. And once they get in front, the time required by Derbyshire doubles. If that makes any sense, all the time they have left halves, one or the other. Next deliveries defended comfortably by Parkinson.
I suppose we'd lose the 2 overs for the change of innings as well. Do we? No. Do we have to have the 96?
Yeah, no, we'd lose them. Yeah. And T will be at 20-4. Should we get that far? Thompson bowls. Bit too full, really, and it's easily smothered any spin there by Parkinson.
Over 8 +2, I say.
We should get points added for that, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Get a 26-point game, we'd be top of the table. Next delivery. Oh, that keeps a bit low, and he goes back into his stumps there, Parkinson. That's the danger. But he survives. Maiden over from Parkinson. From Thompson to Parkinson. He's on 28. Hendricks has 3-11 for 8. Only 61 overs to get these 2 wickets.
As I say, once it gets under 30, it could get interesting. It did against.
Is that when you Is that when you started?
Worcester, 26.3 when the 9th wicket fell. So
You're going to start at 26.3 again. Excellent. No,
about that sort of area.
Yeah.
Don't really anticipate that. It'll be half an hour after tea, something like that. Before we get to that point. Mind you, they're rattling through these overs with a +2 rate, although Potts isn't that quick between deliveries, and it's a longish run for the young man. Charges in and bowls to Hendricks, who, with all the time in the world, leans forward and just waits for the ball before bunting it out towards point. Two balls Bjorn Hendricks has faced now for his 3. Shahan Masood is back on the boundary. I'm kind of not quite sure why, really, but watching the plonk it straight to him now. Yeah. Potts is in bowls. Hendricks is driving most pleasantly for 4. But between extra cover and all Godalman at mid-off could do was turn and jog after the ball. Lovely shot from Bjorn Hendricks, his first boundary. He moves on to 7, 215 for 3.
Very nice. The run rate's climbing now, 2.1.
Still trailed by 103. Hendricks does have a batting average after his dismissal in the first innings. In goes Potts and bowls to him. He clips him away nicely to deep square, who comes jogging in from his position about 20 yards inside the ropes. Sam Connors out there. Single taken. Hendricks on 2-8.
They've added 35, these two.
So he was on 53 when he came into the match. Did he get 4 in the first innings? Not very many, did he? Hendricks, have a look, see. Yes. Potts is in. Parkinson's playing firmly, very correctly, out to mid-off. So he's got 12 in the game, 53. 65 for once out, so his average is 65, and I suspect with Hassan Azad's 2 dismissals in the game, Bjorn Hendricks is now top of the Leicestershire batting averages
excellent.
with 65. Once out. And at the moment, 5 not outs. Much to be said for a blob. Potts is into Parkinson. He plays it really nicely. Got up on his toes, the slightly rising ball outside off stump, and just deflected it. A late cut of some aplomb and ability on display there from Parkinson. And he moves into the 30s on 232. Yet another Leicester batsman getting in. But only so far. Louis Kimber has gone on and then converted it into even a half century.
right about the averages. Has had averaging 49 now.
Oh, of course it does it. It updates
They
it
update it on
live, don't they,
ESPN,
so to
yeah.
speak. Potts is in and bowls. Parkinson up on his toes, defending out to Dahl at backward point. You see, I did it in my head. Well, looking at papers and things.
Got the old slate out and a bit of chalk.
If you don't use it, it will stop being usable. Just don't say anything.
Yep.
End of the over, 220 for 8.
So Lackmell's just wheeling his arms, windmilling his arms around. Wonder if he's going to get a go. Billy Godleman's telling him to stretch out his hamstrings now, which is obliging.
Trail by less than 100.
Oh, yeah. Thompson begins a new over from the Bennett end and bowls to Hendricks, who goes, doesn't really go anywhere and pushes the ball out into the offside, neither back nor forward. Fielded by Matty McKiernan. He's in again. And that strikes the pad. There's an appeal for leg before wicket, but it's more of a polite inquiry than a full-throated appeal for leg before wicket. Neil Payton wasn't interested in the slightest. Thompson will try again. That one is pushed out into the offside. And there's no run.
Bit too high, a bit too leg-sidey.
Hendricks waits. Oh, what did that hit? He only just got his bat on it, if it was bat. Again, just seemed to go through a bit quicker.
Work out when the last time Alex Thompson conceded a run.
This next one is pushed out into the offside. But there is no run. That'll be his third maiden in a row, certainly since lunch. He hasn't conceded since lunch, has he? 50. And that one's pushed out too. And it's Dahl in the offside. It's 3 overs, 3 maidens for Alex Thompson since lunch. 220 for 8. Now Leicestershire, they're trailing by 98.
Seems to have been 3 for 50 for about half an hour before lunch as well. Billy Godleman rather mixed it up a bit before the interval. In terms of bowling changes, McKiernan bowling in single overs from either end, little spells. Potts is going to continue for the time being. Potsy, Potto, Potter, Potterman. Heard all those.
Potmeister.
Heard all those from his teammates today. He runs away from us and bowls to Callum Parkinson, who's turning him nicely off his legs out towards deep mid-wicket. Should be 2 for all that Masood chases hurriedly to pick up the ball at deep mid-wicket, and he does indeed take 2. Foxy Phil. Yes, we have now scored more than Masood in an innings. There'll be a few teams maybe saying that.
Yes, I think there have been.
Potts is in and bowls full, looking to drive but no weight into the shot. It was rather towards the bottom of the bat, pushed out towards McKiernan, who claps his hands in the covers.
There won't be many of us who've seen 4 double centuries in the last 10 days. And Madson's had a word with Nick Potts. Suranga Lackmell's going through his bowling action.
Who was which was the 4th? 2 Masood, Haynes and
Pujara.
of course. In goes Potts, bowls outside off stump. Parkinson steps forward and leaves.
It was almost an agreed double century because the pitch was so flat that it was about 5:10 by the time he got to his double century, and then they shook hands, whereas Sussex could have declared at 10-5 and we could have all gone home.
So Yorkshire taken 3 Northants wickets in the morning. That could be quite tight for them there.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Funny.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Potts is in. Parkinson is solidly forward to a line and length delivery on off stump. Dave's going to go talk to BBC Radio Derby. 2 o'clock is a sort of kick-off time in Sunday sport. I know there's a lot of, not locally for either Leicester or Derby, although England's women are playing up the road, or have been playing up the road, Welford Road. We can see the lights on the edge of the stand. Why the lights are on, not quite sure, given it's pretty sunny out there still. Potts continues, 2 balls left in his 9th over. Bowls to Parkinson, bounces, and he looks to turn it on the leg side. It pops up into the air off the pad, off the thigh pad, and lands at sort of silly point. McKinnon runs in and picks it up. No run. Derbyshire staying enthusiastic in the field, as you would expect, needing just those 2 wickets. I wonder at what point they'll become slightly nervous. Not yet, anyway. 58 overs after this delivery as Potts is in. Parkinson, back foot. Ball again doesn't really get up too much, but he blocks it out into the offside. So, the 20 minutes post-lunch negotiated. 38 overs overall. Yes, the 2 wickets have fallen, but there are still 58 potentially to be bowled. Thompson in particular is getting something out of the pitch, and the ball is still relatively new, 24 overs old now. A reminder for BBC Radio Leicester listeners that Leicester commentary is not on the stream next week from Lords. Middlesex do their own thing, so they will have their own commentators. You will be able to get BBC Radio Leicester commentary as round the wicket goes. Thompson bowls to Hendricks, who defends on the front foot. Well, no big stride, but just leans forward. But if you want to watch and have our commentary on the stream, then you're going to have to just turn the volume down and have us on a radio or another device as forward goes Hendricks. Or not another device, just on another tab, presumably. We just might have to sort of do a bit of coordinating. But it can be done. It can be done. Thompson is in, tosses that one up. Hendricks clips it into the leg side out towards mid-wicket, where Potts is the fielder. Thompson's going to go over the wicket to the left-hander. Bowls, and Fuller just leans forward again, turns it out again to Potts at mid-wicket. Again, no run. Thompson in line for a 4th consecutive maiden post-lunch. He is in, gives it lots of air. Again, it's full, but again, Hendricks interested only in just turning the delivery into the leg side. Potts again, the fielder. Thompson bowls. Hendricks, not much foot movement again, but the ball doesn't really turn. He stays a fraction low, perhaps, but pushed out into the offside end of the over. Thompson's figures etched in stone, it appears, at 3 for 50. He's now bowled 36 overs, 14 of which have been maidens, including certainly the last 4. And I'm trying to find out if a couple before lunch were as well. 2-2-2 for 8 remains the score. 57 overs left. potentially to be bowled. Suranga Lakmal, who took the 2 wickets that fell this morning. Well, Billy Godleman has gone back to his talisman. As warm-up routines go, it's not the most convincing from Lakmal. It's slightly half-hearted and gentle. It's like a sort of 1950s health and efficiency film, gently swinging his arms from side to side. Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. Forgot about that. Lakmal is in and bowls to Parkinson, who's looking to clip it away down the leg side. Doesn't get anything on it. It's taken by Guest, falling away to his left on the half volley. They're calling him Madja. Turns. It's only really almost when he gets into his sort of delivery stride that he really explodes, or in as much as he ever does. Bowls outside off stump. It stays a bit low, swings away, and again Guest is taking it right down by his ankles, almost on the half volley. It's one of those straight. We'll ask questions of Parkinson. He's faced 70 balls for his 34.
No update.
Yeah.
No, I think the person who's doing the 2 o'clock show isn't on the email list, and I send an email out every day.
Kamal is in. Bowls. Parkinson is shuffling across his stumps, and there would have been a very loud appeal for leg before had he not connected. But he did connect, and he more than connected. He hit it in the middle, pretty much out towards deep backward square, and takes 1. But there's this pre-recorded program sometimes on a Sunday if there's no sport, so I'm not quite sure what's what.
We've got somebody in the studio live, but last week he came different person. That's the problem. He's a good lad, but if he doesn't know, if he's not on the email list, then I don't really know how to get in touch with him. I've just sent him a message, but that would mean he'd have to look at his phone. We'll wait and see. If he doesn't look at his phone, then
Lakmal
not much I can do.
Around the wicket to Hendricks. Bowls. Hendricks steps forward, gets in position to drive, but latest decision, but the correct one, to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know that Madja.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Unless it's part of his name. RAS Lakmal, he is.
Yeah, could be. Don't know if he's in here. Might be. Runs in and bowls to Hendricks, who's playing slightly away from his body, competently enough, pushing it out from just outside off stump, out towards backward point. Ranasinghe Arachige Suranga Lakmal. Is it Racha they're saying? I'm not quite sure. One ball to go in his 21st over. He is in, bowls to Hendricks, very solidly forward. Out into the offside it goes, end of the over. So Lakmal is maintaining his 20 plus overs per innings.
Yep.
Every single innings then.
Yes, they're working him hard. Well, as the man who got the 2 wickets this morning, you can understand why Billy Godleman was keen to get him back this afternoon at some point. The current ball is 26 overs old now, so not too old as to be of no use to the quicker bowlers.
No, it should still be pretty good order, shouldn't it? And very
so.
good for Thompson, you would have thought. Nice and hard.
Yeah.
Seam should still be nice and prominent.
He's going to be bowling to Callum Parkinson is Alex Thompson. Up right approach and bowls to him and beats him. Ball thuds into the gloves of Brooke Guest when Madsen arms aloft. You will not be surprised to hear. He crouches down now and waits as Thompson bowls to Parkinson. This is a fuller delivery that's pushed back down the pitch. You can't just tell me that, Yoz. They're saying Machan, M-A-C-H-A-N, or Machen for Saranga.
Okay.
This next delivery is pushed up to mid-off.
He,
Tell me why. Tell me why, Yoz. Tell me why. Good to have you listening, by the way.
Doesn't.
It's not helping us. Next delivery is defended by Parkinson. Good news is that my presenter back in the studio is listening. And we're hearing your music, which is wonderful. Next delivery is pushed out into the offside by Parkinson.
Kicked away. Kneed away. In the best Bolton defender style.
Yes. Well, normally they'd go right through the opposition, obviously, but... next delivery is driven up to mid-off where Billy Godwin... Oh, well, he does the fielding and the ball runs away from him. But he manages to get there. And it's the end of the over. 2-2-3 for 8, Leicestershire. Derbyshire still need those 2 wickets.
We're getting all this song, so whether it's precedes an update, it's an odd time to have one.
Isn't it?
And I'm beginning to suspect that the wrong button has once again been pressed. Or maybe they think we'd like them.
No,
it's gone again. But it was very interesting while it lasted. Wasn't the greatest piece of popular music I've ever heard.
Our man back in the studio, Chris Bergs, he's put us on a fader.
13 added since lunch, so slow going for the Foxes, but they are still going as round the wicket goes Lackmal, bowls to Hendricks, and there's going to be at least 2, I would have thought, as it's tucked away off his legs down towards deep mid-wicket. Sam Connors runs around and fields. Good throw from him. But Hendricks had comfortably completed 2 to move into double figures and move his batting average, as things stand, onto 67.
So, Alex Hughes tells me that Machan means brother-in-law in Tamil. It may also mean friend in both Sinhala and Tamil slang.
Sort of mate.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Very good. Educate, entertain and inform. Thank you, Alex.
Indeed. That might come in useful over the next few months. In goes Lackmal and bowls onto the toes of Hendricks, clipped away along the ground. Again in some style, but he's picked out. Connors down there at deep backward square, so it'll be just 1 on this occasion. For Buren Hendricks, moves on to 11, 2-2-6 for 8. Parkinson just checks his guard. Madja. There you go.
Madja.
Mate. In Sri Lankan, essentially. In Tamil, I should say. Back over the wicket to the right-handed Parkinson goes Lackmal, bowls a little bit short, looking up to get it up into the armpit, doesn't really get up, and it's around waist height when Parkinson on his toes just plays it firmly out towards mid-wicket. It's Leos Duploy still with the pads on underneath his whites.
He had those on most of the season.
Maybe they're sweaty.
Sewn into his pants.
Or onto his shins. Lackmal is in. Bowls again a little bit short, looking for the bounce, but Parkinson plays it rather sort of elegantly, as if he's about to bob at the knees like a curtsy. One leg came out at the back and sort of stepped forward, as though about to be presented to the Queen or something. Good way of avoiding it. Like a Deb, a 1920s Deb coming out. Lackmal is in. Oh, that's a good bouncer. Not sure about that one, Parkinson. He managed to keep it down, fend it down, taking his bottom hand off the bat, jumping into the air. But the third was the best from Lackmal and reflected in the enthusiastic reaction of the Derbyshire players. They liked that. Discomforted Parkinson.
His arm, I think.
Sort of, yeah, couldn't. He's got his arm guard on this time. He was hit on the arm against Durham. And as he said,
He was hit on the arm in the first innings, wasn't he? Yeah.
He said, not like me not to wear an arm guard. He certainly has it on this time. Lackmal is in, bowls and clipped nicely through mid-wicket. It was the old bluff, tried the full delivery. Parkinson was in position to play it nicely away, clip it away down towards deep mid-wicket. Shan Masood runs round and fields. Parkinson picks up a couple, moves on to 37. 228 for 8. Leicestershire now trail by just, in inverted commas, 90.
But the Godman's left the field momentarily. Adam Dahl has returned. Harry Kane's still out there. That's the 12th man. It's going to be Alex Thompson to continue from the Bennett end.
54 remain. Overs, that is. Pretty much double what the last pair survived against Worcestershire.
There's still Will Davies to come.
Yes.
First delivery, but over. He doesn't take that cleanly. Brooke Guest. Now does that hit? Something goes there. A missed stumping. He looks very, very frustrated as he just gets back off his knees.
Almost dropped onto the stumps as well, didn't it? It's hard to. All sorts of things were going on
I've
there.
got to look through both Wayne Manson and Brooke Guest to see the stumps, so I've got absolutely no chance, in all honesty. He's in again now, is Thompson, and this one is turning away from the left-hander. Hendricks just sticked out his arms and said, what am I supposed to do with that? Well, you did well not to hit it, in all honesty.
The previous ones just sort of bounced and skidded on, and
he's in again. He gets bat on this one.
And it sort of came off Hendricks' back leg.
Right.
And it looped just over the stumps.
But Thompson in. Turned into the leg side by Hendricks. Thompson still hasn't conceded a run since lunch.
Are carved into a stone, aren't they? 3 for 50. That's what you will get today, however many overs you bowl.
Just carry on bowling. 50 overs, 3 for 50. This one is played off the back foot out into the offside where it's followed by Anuj Dahl.
Hendricks has now faced more balls than he did in that last wicket stand against Worcester.
Well, 2 alarms, and there's a drive, but again stopped by Dahl. Billy Godalman is on his way back because that's the end of the over. It's now 6 overs, 6 maidens for Alex Thompson since lunch. 228 for 8 is the Leicestershire score. 53 overs to go. They trail by 90. So it will be even more exciting. Not for Derbyshire fans necessarily, who are just waiting for these 2 wickets, but imagine if Leicestershire only needed 90 to win. That would be exciting, wouldn't it?
If they were to save this game, it would feel like a...
Well, yes, it would feel very much like a defeat to Derbyshire, I think.
Like a win.
They've added 18 runs in the 50 minutes since lunch.
They've survived 43 overs today now, so we're coming up to the halfway point in terms of overs survived. Lackmal into Parkinson, bouncer, a no ball, trying a bit too hard, and it was far too short. Parkinson didn't even really bother ducking. Instinctively his head sort of came down a little bit, but miles above his head. 230 for 8. They're not enjoying this. It's a good thing we can hear everything.
Nobody's enjoying it, in all honesty.
They're really not enjoying this.
Brilliant.
Hackmal is in. Bowles. Parkinson right behind it. Nothing's going to stop him getting behind it as he pushes that one out towards mid-wicket. It's quite good to stop talking between deliveries sometimes so you can hear
what they're saying. Yeah. Matty McKinnon's warming up at first slip.
He's due his over about now.
Ready for his one-over spell.
Yeah. Lackmal is in. Parkinson again, bat and pad very close together as he blocks that one out off the front foot to Godalming mid-off.
I don't want to see Alex Thompson come off though, because I remember 2 seasons ago, Finn Hudson-Prentice bowled to me like 9 maidens in a row. David Griffin was getting very excited, so it must be in that region. Must be record-ish territory.
I haven't got a note of whether his 2 overs before lunch were maidens, his last 2 before, but it just seems to have been 3 for 50. Yes, I say 3 for 50 most of the morning, really, and now well into the afternoon. Lackmal started his run up. Something disturbing him on the ground, whether it was
His boot came undone, or
his Velcro strap.
Yeah.
He's re-strapped it, turns and runs in. Bowles. Parkinson clips them out through mid-wicket. It's a chase back. Who's going to win it? It looks as though it's going to be Potts. Beg your pardon, Duploi running.
No,
it is Potts. I was right first time.
You're right.
He hasn't got anything on underneath his whites. I see he just got slightly baggy whites down there.
Big calves.
Get down there. Moo. He picked up 2 anyway. Parkinson moves on to 39, 232 for 8.
Never laugh too much at your own jokes, Richard. Come on.
So it's just got this picture of calves.
Pushing 2
Glades.
cows down your socks.
That should stop the ball. In goes the Lackmal and bowls a bounce. Parkinson plays it well. He goes down on one knee again, his front knee, his left knee. But he keeps his eye firmly on the ball as it sails past.
This is as noisy as Derbyshire have been in the entire match.
Maybe a good sign for Leicestershire in a way.
Or a little bit of, not quite desperation, but something along those lines.
Lackmal bowls another bouncer, and again it's too short really. Parkinson can evade it with some ease, does so. Walks off towards short leg. I don't think he'll get any change out of Leicestershire there in terms of badinage. He was talking about that when he came on the cricket show a week or so ago, and said that if people are talking to me, he always talks back. He says,
really?
One of those that likes the engagement. Lackmal is in, looking for the Yorker perhaps, or the fuller swinging delivery. It is very full, doesn't really swing, and Parkinson can lean into it and play it just wide of Godalming and take one and keep the strike. As I get what Lackmal and Derbyshire are trying to do, but it wasn't the best directed of overs from the big man. 23 overs, 2 for 46 his figures. 233 for 8. 52 remain to be bowled.
And that is the end of Alex Thompson. So we're going to see Matty McKinnon bowl his over from the Bennett end. Leg spin instead of off spin. 6 overs, 6 maidens since lunch. Alex Thompson beaten the bat a couple of times. Looked dangerous. Can Matty McKinnon find a breakthrough. 2 more wickets for Derbyshire. 85 more runs for Leicestershire to make them bat again. As McKiernan blows into his hand for a 4th time, so he's able to set off. Ball is left alone outside the off stump by Callum Parkinson. From the Bennett end that he got his wicket with the 5th ball that he bowled in the match before lunch on day 1. Be hoping for something similar here. As he said again, that's a full toss. It's just bunted up to Billy Godalman at mid-off.
Watches it carefully into the bread basket.
Having already been struck once in this game, I don't think he wants to be struck again. He's giving the ball a proper polish here. Because the over 8 is +2, so they can take as much time as they like, really. Which is always another reason for it not being on the board. McKiernan in, Parkinson goes back and pushes this one out towards Shamsood out on the cover boundary, and they trot through for a single. Mr. 50 partnership, it's up to 53 now.
Apologies to Bjorn Hendricks and Callum Parkinson. Hendricks, 11 of them. Not sure whether Parkinson had scored when he came in. I think he probably had a couple to his name.
Next delivery is off an edge of Hendricks' bat to chase down to 3rd man for Wayne Madsen. They've run 2. Are they going to come back for the 3rd? They're not. Because Madsen picks up, turns and throws in the same motion and still manages to send it straight into the hands of wicketkeeper Brooke Guest as he stands up to the stumps. That 9th wicket, 50 partnership, Parkinson got 34 of them and Hendricks 11. 6 extras. McKiernan's in again, and that one is a full delivery, almost sneaks under the bat, but not quite. Final ball of the 111th over of this Leicestershire innings of 236 for 8. And McKiernan's going to come around the wicket to bowl to Bjorn Hendricks, who has a slash at that one, and it's come off at something. Wayne Madsen tried to grab it at the second attempt, but had another one of those nonsensical Guest Madsen catches. Had it come off bat? I don't think it did. 236 for 8 at the end of the over. Hendricks has 13, Parkinson has 41. 51 overs to go, 82 runs needed by Leicestershire to make Derbyshire bat again.
They've probably already succeeded in annoying Derbyshire.
Well, they're annoying me.
Not sure that was on.
I don't think they
On
care.
the
No, they don't
Leicestershire-
care about me. No, no.
On the Leicestershire board at the start of the day, Ames 1, annoy Fletcher. Number 1, it's worked. Dave goes to update BBC Radio Derby. Saranga Lakmal will continue. Whether he'll continue trying to bounce Parkinson out, we're going to find out. In he goes from the pavilion end and bowls. Parkinson on drives pleasantly. Didn't quite have enough weight in the shot to beat Potts running around from mid-on to his left. And there's no run. Parkinson's best score of the season. Lakmal is in. He's playing firmly off the back foot. A good stop by Sam Connors in the covers. There's no run. Remember his first class best, 75. Down at Canterbury. It was the best part of 5 years ago there now. He batted with Mark Cosgrove. for a while in that match. Lackmal is in. There is the bouncer, but again, he was sort of ready, very much ready for it. So sort of completely ready for it and just ducked underneath it, bent at the waist that time. It wasn't the old knee go down on one knee. It was just old-fashioned bend at the waist and went over his back. Chorus of encouragement from the Derbyshire fielders. Short mid-wickets in now as well as short-ish leg as Lackmal goes in and bowls to Parkinson on off stump. Rather nurdled out into the offside by Callum Parkinson, slightly angled back. Connors runs in from cover to field. No run. Is in, back on his stumps. It was a foolish delivery, so anticipating the shorter ball perhaps, Callum Parkinson. Even so, he played it well, everything behind it, pushing the ball out to that man at shortish mid-wicket. There's Nick Potts. Risky one there, looked to have just sort of come back on him a little bit. Lackmal is in, full toss, but Parkinson misses out. He was looking for the Yorker there. Bunted back down the pitch on the onside, but more or less straight to mid-on. End of the over, 2-3-6 for 8. I think that was a maiden. In the end, 24 overs, 11 maidens, 2-4-46 for Saranga Lackmal. Discussions involving Guest and Thompson and McKiernan. Thompson's jogging off, and Harry Kamer is coming on. McKiernan to continue then from the Bennett end. Not a deserted Uptonsteel County Ground, but there certainly aren't more than a handful of people in there. Round the wicket goes McKiernan and bowls to Hendricks. Puff of dust as he waits for that full floating delivery and then clips it out towards mid-on where Lackmal fields. Dull, who we haven't seen today in terms of bowling anyway, is beginning to warm up. McKiernan is in, forward, just leans forward Hendricks and dabs it back down the pitch. 72 balls he's faced now for his 13. McKiernan bowls, forward goes Hendricks, out into the offside this time, looks very correct. Bowls, forward goes Hendricks, should pick up a run there as he pushes it wide of Wayne Madsen, chases after it, picks it up on the turn, hurls it in, but Hendricks had called for the second and gone for it. The throw was a little bit wide, and although Guest sort of tried to backhand it onto the stumps, flick it back, it was all a bit too wide, and Madsen cross with himself. Then his throw wasn't more accurate. Hendricks moves on to 15. 2-3-8 for 8. McKiernan tosses it up, driven very nicely by Hendricks, but straight to mid-off by Godalman fields. travelling at a rate of knots over the outfield. McKinnon is in again. Back! Oh, has he got him? Yes, he's got him. He has got him caught behind. Stayed a little bit low. He stayed on the back foot. May have been even an inside edge. Peel went up and umpire Bainton thought about it for a long time, but at long last the breakthrough has come for Derbyshire. Let's have another look at that one on the replay. Went back, had a little sort of fiddly jab outside the off stump, and umpire Bainton gave it. He has to say he could have left it, didn't have to play at it. He was on the back foot. It was outside off stump. Might just have stayed a fraction low, but that is unfortunate for Leicestershire and Hendricks, who again had battled away for a long time out there for his 15. 75 balls he faced. Good catch by Guest, obviously. And McKinnon, having picked up a wicket in the first innings, having scored his maiden first-class century, has now picked up his first wicket in the second as well. 2, 3, 8 for 9. Parkinson is 41 not out. Leicestershire trailed by 80, so the stand was worth 238 minus 181, 57. That stand for the 9th wicket. And this is where oh, sounds like an update's coming. Better crack on. I think it's going to be all right. Everybody's doing things very slowly out there. Will Davis, we should say, has come out to bat. So hopefully, before the bowling recommences, we'll get this update done and then Fletcher can take over. They've just lost their 9th wicket in their second innings. I'm afraid a really brave battling partnership of 57 for that 9th wicket between Callum Parkinson and Buran Hendricks. Hendricks has just been caught behind off the bowling of leg spinner Matty McKinnon for 15. They have just 1 wicket left. They need another 80 runs simply to make Derbyshire bat again. Alternatively, bat out the 49 overs. Parkinson is 41 and out, but it's almost all over for the Foxes, I'm afraid.
Beautifully done, Rich. Beautifully done. Here's Saranga Lakmal then. Derbyshire needing 1 wicket for their first victory of the season. Bowls to Callum Parkinson, who goes back into his crease and squirts that one down to third man for 4. Bit of ZZ Top, which I don't mind actually. I can commentate with ZZ Top in my ears. I've just been asked on the radio that they knew that I was still there. It's gone now, Rich. Give me all your loving, it was, of course. By ZZ Top. The members of the band, of course, Frank Beard was the only one without the beard, famously. And people think it's amusing if they refer to ZZ Top when they're talking about me. But their beards were far more impressive than mine. Lakmal, 2 slips in place, bowls to Callum Parkinson, and it's a short delivery. It's a no ball. Parkinson evades it very comfortably.
I heard the call then. We were talking last week about how you don't often hear the call these days, but umpire Pratt clearly called on that occasion.
They've taken a little clip of one of my comments from earlier on today, like they do, to play out, saying, I thought I understood cricket, but what does this mean? And the clip merely said, and the tail is now in. So I had to explain what that meant to Chris Burks, who's on the actual radio today. And at the moment I was explaining it to him, Buran Hendricks was out. In comes Lakmal again, bowls a good shot off his toes, out into the offside by Callum Parkinson. Derbyshire won't be too disappointed. It brings Will Davis, who I think's got pretty much one way of batting from memory. He likes to go after the bowling, doesn't he? He's not really a hang-arounder.
He hasn't been, but I think he's learned a little bit over the last year or two
Well, okay.
that you know, to start with, he's got to try and see Parkinson to a 50. Really, at the very least, he doesn't want
Yes.
to give it away. He did give it away a couple of times that I've seen him do it. I remember when Dieter Klein was on about 92, never had got into the 90s, and he hasn't got a first-class century now.
No.
Will had a huge swing and got out. So I think probably words were said.
All they do here is Lackmell comes into bowl to Davis, and Davis does well to deal with that one. It was a nasty short delivery that was aiming towards his throat, and he manages to fend it off down into the ground and gets off the mark with a single. Played that nicely.
He did. He was bounced out at Durham actually by Matty Potts, so getting used to getting the short ball. They got two of the nastier bouncers. That was a good one.
It was an excellent bouncer.
I like being able to talk to the presenter sometimes at away games.
Yeah, I enjoy it. We can do it at home games as well in Derby, which is quite good. The way we've got it set up is Lackmell bowls and Parkinson turns it up towards mid-on. There's going to be a shot that starts from Potts. If it hits, he's gone. It misses. Good backing up from Anoj Dahl. If it had hit there, then Parkinson for all money was gone and the game would have been over. Didn't quite get the accuracy he was looking for, and Parkinson moves on to 47, 247 for 9.
Yeah, he'd given it up, hadn't he? He wasn't even running the bat in.
It was an interesting single to take. He just
How
punched
cross he
his
is with
bat.
himself.
Yeah, he's just punched his bat because he knows that there was never a single there, really. Didn't look like it missed by much from Potts. You could see a puff of dust come up as it went past the stumps. As it is, Derbyshire still looking for this final wicket. The winning wicket. Get their campaign properly up and running this season at the third attempt. Lackmell on his way and then past the umpire now. Bowls to Davis, who ducks a bouncer that goes through to Broadcast.
The presenter you heard there briefly, Andy Pearce, he was the Sunday afternoon presenter. I was talking to him at Durham last week, and he said, "I think there's been another out." I said, "You what? Outs? Is that not right?"
No.
The terminology is it's a bit more baseball-y.
They scored some more points yet. Yes.
But he's an amiable soul and took it all in good part.
I think that it's almost a badge of honour for some people not to understand cricket. And goes Lackmell, bowls. Now it's gone past the edge of Will Davis's bat, through to the keeper. Missed the edge though. And it's the end of the over. 247 for 9. Radio 1 time. Northamptonshire 178 for 3 still. They did another 321 to win. You wouldn't think they'd get those, but just 3 down.
I guess if they're just 3 down, Yorkshire can say, well,
We told you so.
you know, we were never going to get the wickets on that flat track. But say we want them to be 7 or 8 down, just to
Yes, that'd
see
be
the grinding teeth.
gnashing and wailing. Warwick should beat Essex by 10 wickets, I see. Kent 5 down. They still trail by 101 against Hampshire. Matty McKinnon, then, can he finish things off here? It's been a very good match for Matty McKinnon. He's got his maiden first-class century, and now he's in and bowls a full delivery to Parkinson, who punches it up to mid-on, where Saranga Lackmell does the fielding. There's only so many times you can make it a soundbite. Parkinson blows into his hand, walks gently up to the crease and bowls to Parkinson, who gets forward to defend this next one into the leg side.
Good job it wasn't that ball that was the wicket.
Why?
You said Parkinson blows on his hands.
Oh, did I? Oh, dear. Well, he might have done, but McKinnon's also blowing on his hands. It's Lancastrians. He's in and bowls, and that's whipped into the leg side. I think they're only going to get one as it's fielded there by Sam Connors. They are. So Parkinson moves to 48 and risks exposing Will Davis to the leggy. I think he's going to have a big swish here. Will Davis.
This would if he gets it, would only be his second first-class 50.
Wow.
Parkinson.
Davis waits. McKinnon bowls to him outside the off stump, left alone.
I thought we got one against us as well as that one at Kent. For Derbyshire, did he get 40 odd that time? Against us.
Don't know.
This, oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Before your time.
Parkinson at Derbyshire? No, I remember that. I was there. Next delivery, he's turning to the leg side.
We definitely made runs, got a lot of runs here against us. But it can't have been 50 because according to this, he's only got one first-class 50, and I remember that at the 70 he got at Canterbury against Kent.
Davis waits, McKinnon bowls, and it's pushed into the offside. They're liking what they're seeing from Mac. The Derbyshire fielders. Under the over, 248 for 9. Still need that wicket. Round about 2 minutes to 3 would be ideal, in all honesty. Let Parker get his 50.
Yeah, just the one with the highest score of 75.
Blackwell removes his sweater. He's going to continue from the pavilion end. The 6th over of this spell, 0 for 20. Picked up 2 wickets this morning. Those of Ed Barnes and Louis Kimber within around about 15 minutes of each other. At which point Derbyshire might have thought about winning the game before lunch, but to Leicestershire's credit, they've pushed it into the afternoon, and we're at 2:45 now. 47 overs to go. Parkinson waits, Lackman bowls to him, and he just guides this out to the man at backward point, who is Sam Connors. They'll go through for a single, and Parkinson moves on to 49.
I'm sure they should have taken that. Not first ball of the over.
No.
Not when he's on 49. To go to 49. But anyway.
See Alex Thompson again soon. He's down at long leg. Either that or he's waving at somebody. He does some stretches, the big lad.
I suspect Davis might get peppered.
Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. Will it be a bluff and a bowl a full one? He's in to bowl to Davis. It's a decent delivery and goes a millimetre past the outside edge. It kept a bit low as well. Davis is looking at the pitch, can't quite believe it, and I don't think Lackmal can quite believe that it didn't take the edge and go through to the keeper. In fact, if he'd have got bat on it, it probably would have died before it got to the keeper, in fairness.
Can't have missed the off stump by more than a centimetre. Let's have a look, see.
Definitely kept low though, didn't it? Ooh.
Did it miss anything? But it missed everything.
We've had a couple of those that have gone through everything in this match. Davis waits. Lackmal is in, and again he goes past the edge.
Proper ball that was. That didn't stay low. That was just a really, really good ball.
But Davis doesn't really know how to play it, does he? It's not in his sphere of expertise.
He looks nicely fired up, doesn't he, Saranga Lackmal?
Yeah.
This is what you want your fast bowler to do, isn't it? To come back and blast out there. Tell you what, he's done it for Derbyshire today.
It is on day 4, and it's his 26th over of the innings,
Yes.
2 for 56, so he's been economical as well. 11 of the overs that he's bowled have been maidens. And he sets off again now to bowl to Davis, who's beaten again. That's 3 in a row.
The last 2 super deliveries.
Just do with asking Will Davis if he knows what he's doing. The cameraman clapped. I think the cameraman should have clapped there, really.
Mr. Griffin?
No, the cameraman. No, he's the photographer. Griff's down below, ready to take a photograph of the victorious Derbyshire team. He's been waiting since about 11:15.
He's got a better view than us, the cameraman, so perhaps he can see what the ball is doing.
Yeah, fair point. Lackmal's in again. Davis gets bat on ball. Pushes it up to Billy Godwin at mid-off. 10 deliveries now Will Davis has faced.
I should say Leicestershire are over the halfway point in terms of seeing out the day.
Yeah.
They've seen off at the end of this 50 overs.
All their problems stemmed from day one, though.
Yes, yeah, completely.
Not even losing those wickets yesterday wasn't really the problem. It was a problem, clearly, but it wasn't the problem. As Lackmal is in and bowls to Davis, who gets one off an edge and down towards third man, and they've got one. Davis wants to get back for the second, and he says no. So Davis will be on strike for the start of the next over, which I think is going to be bowled by Alex Thompson.
What were they thinking? What?
Might be the end of Saranga Lackmal as well. I'm not sure that they are thinking, really. They're batting like two bowlers out there. Parkinson's batting nicely when he's on strike, but he's not thinking about the bigger picture and whether he should take a run on the first ball or whether they should take a run on the final ball of an over.
250 up. Quite what Davis will make of Thompson. It may be that if he does have a slight abdominal strain,
he won't go for it.
He can't sort of try and hit him over the top.
That's
so
true.
that might not be, from Leicestershire's point of view, an entirely bad thing if he is slightly restricted. That said, Chris Wright, with his groin injury, did try to do exactly that to Travaskis at Durham and plonked it straight into the hands of the deepish mid-on, and aggravated his groin injury in so doing. Well, at least it looked as though he had, because he walked in without a limp and walked off with a distinct limp.
There's a short leg, a leg slip and a slip for Will Davis as Alex Thompson, who's already picked up 3 wickets in the innings, 3 for 50. Thompson is in, and it's pushed out into the offside by Thompson. That's 37 successive deliveries he's bowled since lunch without conceding a run. Alex Thompson, who's in again now, bowls. That one is left alone by Davis. The last thing he wants to do is leave one that doesn't turn and crashes into his off stump, I would suggest. Davis waits. Thompson bowls to him, gives that one a bit of air. It misses the stumps again as it's left alone by Davis. Derbyshire need one more wicket. Thompson is in. Bowls to Davis, who gets a full delivery that he pushes out into the offside. 2 balls left of the Alex Thompson over. I'll be gargling TCP later on this evening. Here comes Thompson again. Bowls, and Davis pushes it back to him. The man out at mid-wicket, who is Sam Connors, has gone to the edge of the square. Blimey, look at the size of that bee. I said, no, it's a whopper. It's a good job we didn't win the game then. Because I was looking at the bee. It was huge. He didn't. It's a dot ball, and it's another maiden for Alex Thompson. That is... I
would have loved to have heard that played out across Radio Derby. The moment when Derbyshire won, God, look at that bee.
It was huge. It was a whopper, wasn't it?
It was a bumblebee.
Yeah, terrific.
Folks, it wasn't a honeybee.
No, it was a massive bumblebee. Beautiful thing.
We do occasionally that. We are sort of on their flight path up here on top of the pavilion, and occasionally they buzz past. Once one came in, causing consternation. Dahl's going to have a go. Can Parkinson
hasn't
get
bowled
his
it
50?
today.
He hasn't. Dare we risk it? Does Parkinson get his 50? I do one just to see if he gets it.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
I don't want to.
No. Because they'll take a single.
It is Parkinson.
They'll take a single off the first ball of the over anyway, because that's what they've been doing.
It's a distinct possibility.
Yeah. Anuj does have.
Put it this way: they're giving him one.
Well, he does have the propensity to bowl a bit of a loosener at the start of a spell, and since he hasn't bowled at all today, you wouldn't be surprised.
So, long leg is running around to sort of wide long leg, stroke deep backward square. There's a deep mid-wicket, mid-on and mid-off are deep-ish. Extra cover, backward point, third man and the sweeper on the offside. Parkinson on 49 faces as Dahl runs in and bowls to him. He's hit him in front. He's gone. Derbyshire have won the game.
First ball is bowled all day, Anuj Dahl. And Parkinson goes for 49.
I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. Anuj Dahl bowls the ball that wins the game for Derbyshire. Callum Parkinson, the last man out for 49. There's lots of handshakes and hugs going on out there. And Derbyshire have moved up to second in the second division table. Just a point behind Nottinghamshire, who've also played 3 matches. They've won 2 and lost 1. But Derbyshire have drawn 2 and won here at Grace Road. All out for 250, so Derbyshire win by an innings and 68.
A comprehensive win. A defeat by an innings is never respectable, but Leicestershire worked hard today to make Derbyshire work hard for those wickets and to reduce the margin of victory. Callum Parkinson probably deserved a 50. That's as well as I've seen him play for Leicestershire. Made it to 49, but that one from Darley was on the back foot and it may have stayed a bit low, but I think it was the wrong place for Parkinson to be. Shaking hands with many of the players he would have been at the club when he was.
Oh yes,
was
quite
there.
a few.
So,
yeah, they'll know him. They'll know him.
So it will be a tough one for Parkinson to take, but very, very well played at Derbyshire, who have been transformed over the winter and can look forward to the rest of the season with much anticipation, Fletcher.
I'm not doing all that commentary for nothing next time. You can do your share.
Sorry.
No. The winning moment is probably not going to get into the highlights package anyway. It's going to be all about.
Isn't now, anyway.
No, certainly not now. It's going to be all about the Shan Masood double century. It's going to be all about the century for Matty McKiernan, and then the interview that we will do, and you will hear in the podcast, which will probably be out on Monday. And if you can't hear that, it'll be played again on Tuesday on the radio, I'm sure. As Derbyshire leave the field, having won their first game of the season. It took them last season until the very final game of the championship campaign to pick up a victory. Well, in 2022, they've done it at the 3rd time of asking, and they've moved up to second in the second division table as the players shake hands down below. It's been a terrific effort from the Derbyshire boys, and now they move on to Glamorgan on Thursday.
Well played, Derbyshire. Thank you very much indeed for your company here at the Uptonsteel County Ground over the last 4 days. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and we look forward to talking to you again, both of us, from our respective counties on Thursday. Leicestershire down against Middlesex at Lords. Say again, not on the stream, so we'll have to do a spot of fiddling around with tabs and things like that if you want any Leicestershire input into the stream from Lords. But for now, from a sunny but slightly downcast in terms of the atmosphere, Uptonsteel County Ground at Grace Road, from Dave Fletcher of BBC Radio Derby, Richard Ray of BBC Radio Leicester, it's a very good afternoon.